You know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Now, you know this about me, OB.
Okay, I know a lot of things about you, but what exactly?
When my team loses, I'm out. I don't care. I mean, I care. But so I didn't watch the games last night.
Right.
I was with my parents for a lot of the evening. So
well, that's much more important.
Much more important. But I'm hearing Nygren talk about it, and now I'm like, God, I might have missed some cool basketball last night. I'm just angry at basketball when my team loses.
Yeah, I think that's pretty universal. I know that coaches typically stop paying attention when their team is out. I wanted to watch. UH, and I'm like,
I was surprised by what I saw.
Why? 22 points in the first half.
Yeah,
and then they went through a stretch in the second half where they didn't score for I'm probably exaggerating here, but 8 minutes. They didn't score at all.
Right.
And then it got out of control. And you can say that Illinois was just so big that they intimidated Houston, and there was some of that, but most of it was just Houston missing wide open shots, the same shots they made against A&M. They're just missing. Had a terrible shooting night.
I was in downtown Houston yesterday.
Okay.
And it was full of red, full of Nebraska fans. There were so many Nebraska fans. It was very similar to OKC. You would think in the city of Houston, I'm sure there were U of H fans. I mean, there's a lot of them. But what I saw in downtown, and that might be because that's where the hotels are, or the venues are, yada, yada. Yeah. But I saw more Nebraska fans than I saw Astros fans walking around. And this is on opening day. I know Minute Maid or whatever it's called, Dyken Park was full. I get it. It's more of a testament of Nebraska fans. That's all they got, but they love it.
Applaud look. That's great. That's how it should be, right?
Yep.
If the Aggies are ever playing in the, for a chance again to get to the Elite Eight, and they're playing 1,000 miles away, I would hope that Texas A&M would have that kind of representation.
Yeah. I think our fan base loves basketball. I would love them to need basketball all the time, right? Just like we do with football. I think baseball is the next one after football.
Well, I think Nebraska needs basketball because football has sucked for a quarter century now.
Yeah.
And so. And I don't think their I might be dead wrong on this. I don't think their baseball program is. Now, volleyball's been good until they ran into the Aggies. Whoop. So they found something they finally had something to celebrate, and by gosh, they celebrated, as they should.
Absolutely. So
they could have. I think they're celebrating even more in Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it Iowa, Illinois?
Yeah. So
at Toyota Center?
So they beat a border state from the west, and now they take on a border state from the east.
There we go. Big baseball series.
Or do I got that right? Maybe not.
I don't know.
I'm directionally challenged.
I don't do math.
Iowa, Illinois to the east, yeah.
You ready for this baseball series?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be watching.
They need it.
They need it.
They need it.
Last year, you were far superior baseball team to Missouri and lost 3 at home.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I think you're a far superior baseball team to Missouri. You got to go out and prove it.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if they don't win the series, I'm not saying they have to sweep, even though I half expect it, but if you don't win the series, you've got to start really wondering about what the direction of the program in general.
Well, let's hope that we have a great discussion on Monday when we're doing the show of a sweep or a series win. Oh, I know that. And we get great starting pitching. Thank you for the graphic, Nick. Shane Sadeo hopefully continues what he did last week, but the entire game, not the early part of the game, right? Weston Moss getting back on track. Aiden Sims being a Sunday gem recently. Let's keep that going.
Absolutely. I would even look. I'm not even going to pretend to act like I know a lot about college baseball, but just to me, I would be thinking maybe they need to move Aiden a little bit up in the rotation.
Maybe.
Maybe he should be your Saturday guy.
Well, let's see what happens this weekend, because when Weston Moss has been good, he's been really good. We will have the baseball bunch at 9:20, because later on in the show, Jamie Morrison, my guy, spring season.
Who we've already referenced.
Yeah.
National championship
head coach.
Yeah. We should say that often. Every time we mention his name.
Just like Pat Henry, right?
Yeah.
Just like Mark Weaver.
Yeah. The dream Morrison. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
No, we'll find a different one for him. OB, I want to do this series during spring football.
Okay.
Right? And I don't know how long it'll last. Hopefully it doesn't last that long, but a couple days at least of it, where we identify the big issues from 2025 and we break it down moving into 2026, right? So I wrote down a couple of things. I'm sure you can add to it. And I know where I want to start today, but let's just, for right now, offensive turnovers. Okay, that was a big issue last year, especially towards the end of the season, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Interceptions. Lack of defensive interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think you wrote about yesterday on the defensive side. Giving up big plays on defense.
Especially the run defense.
And then I did a part 2 of that. Run defense, right? The kicking game, it was an issue last year.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Penalties was an issue last year.
It got better in the second half of the year.
Sure did, but I still think they were in the bottom.
Yes.
And so was Miami, by the way. But didn't matter. So those are the big ones. But I do want to start today, because you wrote a little bit about, you were watching the secondary, focusing on the turnover. So last year, was it 3 interceptions?
3. 1 by a defensive back.
1 from a defensive back. And then 1 from Damian Sanford in the Mississippi State game.
Okay.
And Scooby Williams before he got hurt against Notre Dame.
Right.
That's it.
Now, I know Damian, was it Missouri? He had one. It might not have been Missouri, but I know that, not Damian, Dalton Brooks. There was one.
Did I say Dalton Brooks? I don't think I did. Did I?
Okay, he's the guy that had the.
Yeah, he's the secondary one, yeah.
He dropped, I can remember he dropped one. I'm trying to remember which game. I want to say Missouri, but I don't think it was. And then just the other day in a press conference, Marcus Ratcliffe said that he dropped 4. Now, I don't remember it. I remember the year before he was intercepting them like crazy.
Pro Football Focus has him as 3, so maybe he has 4. I believe, who else that was on there? Tyreek Chappelle had a couple as well. They had at least 9 drop passes according to PFF. 9 dropped interceptions.
You know what they always say? Hey, if they had good hands, they'd be receivers. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's right there. You got to catch it, right? And I know that's. I'm sure that's something they've talked about a lot. And say, hey, guys, look, there's a certain element of luck. I think the Southern Miss had 23 interceptions. I'm sure not all of those were just great plays by the secondary, right?
Right.
Sometimes the ball was thrown right to them.
Sure.
So there's sometimes an element of luck to it, but when that opportunity is there,
take it.
You have to capitalize on it.
I think it's magnified a little bit more because of the late season turnovers by Marcel. Because if you only have 3, but your offense isn't turning the ball over, it sucks, but you move on. But when both things happen, I think it becomes a bigger problem.
I can look this up, and I would have even thought that this is where we're going, but I bet if you looked at the 12 playoff teams, the other 11 had at least, I'm guessing, I could be dead wrong on it, but I'd say the other 11 probably had at least 8 interceptions. And I may be completely off. That's just my guess.
didn't they have the year prior quite a bit?
Yeah.
Like 14, 15?
Yeah, Ratcliffe, I think, had some, again, I forget numbers. That's why I keep notes. But it seems like Ratcliffe had like 8.
Right.
And even dropped one in the end zone against Bowling Green.
Well, speaking of drops, you wrote yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that when there was a dropped interception, they had to do some push-ups.
They did, so, it was only 5, so they weren't really trying to punish the guy so much as, I'm sure, just reminding, look, we got to do this. If it's there, you got. And it was the new kid from Colorado, and so it's not. I mean, he can't be blamed for last year. There's going to be some grace, right?
Right.
But to me, it was just one of those things that Coach Ish was saying, hey, we got to get better at this. So this is just a reminder of how important it is. 5 push-ups for those guys is nothing. They can do that in their sleep. But it's just, to me, it struck me as being the reminder of from a program of how much they're putting emphasis on just we got to capitalize on our opportunity.
Well, I love that this coaching staff, and I know all coaching staffs work on their issues in the offseason, right? But there is a concerted effort to fix these things.
Right.
They got a quarterback coach for Marcel. They are working on the dropped interceptions and trying to create more. The thing that I think was fascinating to me, OB, especially early in the year, oftentimes interceptions are reflections of your pass rush.
Very oftentimes, yeah, right.
And A&M had an excellent pass rush, especially early on.
That's one of the more bizarre dynamics of last year.
They're supposed to fit, right? Like, if you do this oftentimes happens.
I'll give you an example. 94. I'm going to go all the way back to 94. I'm in Austin, Texas, right? Watching A&M play those Longhorns. And this is a famous play. You probably remembered it, or if you don't yet, you will.
Okay.
So I think James Brown was the quarterback of Texas. And he's back to pass. He's looking, and he gets blindsided. I want to say it was Brandon Mitchell.
Okay.
I might be wrong on that. But the ball pops up. He gets hit, the ball pops up. Now, this is an interception, but the ball pops up and somebody catches in the air. I can't even remember. Hell, it might have been, I might have somebody else mix up. It might have been Brandon that called it. But anyway, they take it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
The point is,
I remember that play. Yeah.
It was a huge play. The point is it was about midfield. The point is that, and we all know this, I'm not telling our audience anything they don't know, but the pressure creates turnovers.
Yeah.
Except for A&M last year.
Right. Reese is going to look up who the play was just to confirm. I can see it in his eyes as he's Googling and figuring things out or watching the YouTube
I think
version.
that was a play that just completely changed that game, too.
Yeah, see if you can find that video and just set the scene for us here in a moment. Let's tell the people what show they're listening to, Obi.
TexAgs Live.
Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
In the Rollo Insurance Studio.
That's right. We call this hour a name because this is just 2 old guys talking.
Yeah, it's the Go Hour.
Presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. And, because we're old, we like to sit comfortably during the first hour in this area that we call the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us up on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending
hotline 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
Yeah, exactly right.
Same number.
Let's go around the room and say hi to the people as Reese does his research. And we go behind the glass. We talk to yesterday's host, our dear friend, Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you, bud?
I'm good. As we know, yesterday, MLB opening day, 3 Aggies made opening day rosters. Brooks Raley with the New York Mets. He did not pitch yesterday. Michael Wacha with the Royals. They kick off their season today, and he's a starter, so he'll probably get a game later on in the series. And Christian Roa with the Houston Astros. He did pitch yesterday, gave up a solo home run in an inning of work, struck out a batter, walked 2 in the Astros 3-0 loss. So 3 Aggies make Major League rosters. By my count, could be off by 1 or 2. 31 Aggies start their season in minor league ball today. Minor league baseball starts today. So going to be cool to follow along with some of those guys. We talked to Coach Early yesterday, and he fully expects Braden Montgomery at some point this year to get some Major League at-bats, and I completely agree with him.
Montgomery's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that.
Yeah.
Bank on it. I love to keep up with him through Twitter
media.
on his mom.
Yeah.
By his mom.
Yeah.
No, she's a proud mom, and she should be.
How was yesterday's show, Nick?
It was good. It was fun. A lot of fun. Well, I will say OB and Steven tested me in my composure, to keep from laughing. But we made it through. I will say, David, I'm surprised we've gone 15 minutes and 30 seconds, not one mention of your race yesterday. So here's your chance. Tell the people.
I don't like to make it about me. It was cool. I enjoyed it. I did about what I thought I would do, and I think that's not good enough. So that's where we are.
I meant to text you and ask for numbers so I can make a stat graphic.
No, we don't need to make a stat graphic. But I will tell you, when you're individually, so those who don't know, I did this thing called High Rocks. It's not a triathlon, but I say that so you know it's a multi-sport, multi-activity thing. 8 different activities that you do in between 1 kilometer run. 1 kilometer is basically 0.63 of a mile, so about 5 miles running. 8, okay. And I had never done a couple of the activities in my life. I had never done a ski erg. Do you know what a ski erg is? Yes. Have you done one?
Oh, no.
Okay. I'd never done one. Did one for the first time yesterday.
Like cross-country skiing.
Yes, but it's with a cable, right? Okay. And you got to. So there's a whole formula, or not a formula. Nick, you've probably done them before. There's
form.
There's a form. Thank you to do that. So that's the first thing you do. Then it was a sled push of 350 pounds.
Okay.
And you had to go, I believe, 100 meters. Okay.
Okay.
There was a sled pull of 270 pounds, which is with a rope. Okay. That one I had never done in my life. It's different than a sled pull by pulling the actual sled. The rope part of it makes it a little bit more difficult. There was, farmer's carries with 54 pounds on each arm for 80 meters, I believe it was. Maybe it was 100 meters. And so 8 different things: wall balls, burpees of 100 yards, burpee broad jumps. That kicked my butt.
Yeah.
And then you're running in between. So if you're not a great runner, and I'm not a great runner, most people use running as their recovery. I never recovered. I just went. So it was a cool event.
I'm exhausted just hearing you explain it.
It was fun. I'll do another.
I don't think it'd be fun, but okay, to each his own.
Everybody, I was telling you before the show, everybody there is in great shape. It's ridiculous shape. So I felt definitely not part of that community at all. So, all right, we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese Nygren. Were you able to get some research done?
I couldn't find anything.
Can't find anything?
I couldn't find
I'm
anything.
sure our listeners have already texted in 22 times, or you
They know.
I haven't seen
I know Brandon Mitchell was involved. I don't know if he made the hit or if he caught the fumble.
Have you ever heard of the name James Brown, the quarterback?
I have not.
Okay.
So
that's a different generation,
Yeah, this is not a shot at Reese, but I think this generation in general just isn't interested in the history of the game and the teams and things like that like we were. And it's probably because they just have so many other options.
But this young man right here knew who Peja Stojakovic was, which was, to me, a bit surprising.
Yeah, he was a great basketball player, and his son is pretty good too for Illinois.
So did you know that before the broadcast who Peja was?
Yeah, I did.
How did you know that?
He was good. He was a good player, so I knew who he was.
Do you think he's as good as John Havlicek?
I don't.
Have you ever heard of John Havlicek?
I've heard the name, but I don't know who he played for.
I'm not going to keep playing trivia with you, but I might do a little bit. Okay. So can you name 2 teammates that Peja played with?
I'm sure if you gave
No,
them
I
to
can't
me,
do that.
Oh, yeah, you can.
I couldn't even tell you what team he played for.
If OB can do it.
But
then
I'll tell you this. I think you can, OB, because we saw one of his teammates just a few days ago. We sat closer to him.
So Chris Webber. So he's playing for the Sacramento Kings. Then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the heyday. He played, I think, a couple other teams. And Jay Will.
Okay.
The real Jason Williams.
Yeah, Jay Will.
Not the one on ESPN, the other one.
Oh, that one on ESPN is Jay Won't.
All right, now give us something.
So we did have a track and field record go down yesterday as Texas A&M track and field long distance runner Michael Moybin shattered the program's 10,000 meter run, completing the run in 28 minutes and 28.9 seconds at the Raleigh Relays. The freshman broke the record that was held by Arturo Barrios.
Oh, I remember him.
His record of 28 minutes and 42.77 seconds stood for 41 years, and it fell yesterday thanks to the freshman. The Aggies will finish the Raleigh relays later today. So, David, do you think you could beat that 10,000-meter time?
No. Not even in a car. If you ask Billy, I drive very slow, so that's part of the reason.
10,000 meters. That would come up to about, 1,600 meters in a mile.
Correct.
So I'm trying to do some quick, around 6.5 to 7 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even want to drive that far.
What else?
We have a very big softball series this weekend as Trisha Ford and her number 15 ranked Texas A&M softball team will head to Austin for a 3-game set against the number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns beginning tonight at 6 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. Game 2 will be Saturday at 1 p.m. on ESPN2. And then Game 3 will be at 1 p.m. on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Aggies enter the weekend on a 4-game win streak, including a weekend sweep over Kentucky last weekend. Texas A&M currently leads Texas 7.5 to 5.5 in the Lone Star Showdown, with each game this weekend counting as 1 point.
Let's finish it. Let's go. Sorry.
Good luck to them.
So yesterday I was a little... I did a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Burned a lot of calories.
You did.
All right. I felt good, but I burned a lot of calories.
You deserved a reward.
Yeah, I didn't get to have the reward I wanted.
Okay.
But I'm going to allow you to be my nutritionist, okay? And let's say I do that event, but here in College Station, they do a High Rocks at Reed. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And you're like my coach, right?
Okay.
But only from a nutritional standpoint.
Okay.
You're going to make my meal. What are you making for me? Or what are you getting for me?
Well, you did High Rocks, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I would go get a high-quality rack of ribs from High Rocks to High Racks. And I got those, not Iraq, the Iraqs, racks of ribs.
Yeah.
Those pork ribs.
Okay. But I'm still hungry. I want
Those
more.
amazing pork ribs at $17.75. And then, because you earned it, I would say, you know what? Give the guy some of this succulent brisket and throw in some of that jalapeno cheese sausage. And you know what?
Queso mac and cheese?
The queso mac and cheese. In fact, I would have had you eat the queso mac and cheese before.
Yes, for the carb loading.
To carb up, yeah.
Yeah, carb loading. You know, I'm a little disappointed.
Well, in what
I think
way?
you've done great so far, but you could have just said, you know what, David, get the freaking sampler.
The sampler, because then you can have some turkey and some pulled pork with it, and they'll even throw on some onions and some pickles. I know you're not a pickle guy. I like pickles.
Pickles are communist.
They're really not. They're just good. So whether you're preparing to carb up with that queso mac and cheese or celebrating, what a great celebration. In fact, I can't think of a better way to celebrate an accomplishment than going to 1775.
I think somebody needs to take me to lunch. Check it out. The website is 1775txbbq.com or call them up 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
And it's good.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant. Nygren, so you got a little more clarity on that play?
Yeah, thank you to SMidget87 on the TexAgs chat for sending in the video of Brandon Mitchell catching a fumble, interception, whatever you want to call it.
Right, because I don't know, I can't remember how they classified it. I think James Brown was about to throw it, and he gets blindsided.
Yeah. He rolled out to his right. They were just beyond midfield. He stops. He's about to fire it, and then he just gets hit from behind. Ball goes up in the air, and Mitchell takes it about 47 yards the other way for a touchdown.
Maybe it was Antonio Armstrong, or I can't remember. You know what? Rusty Burson's probably listening, and he knows all that history.
Yeah.
Or somebody else knows.
Rusty or Gabe know, right?
Yeah.
One of those guys. Not David Nuño.
What a great play.
Yeah.
That's one of my all-time. Do you have an all-time favorite Texas A&M play?
All-time favorite Texas A&M play. Johnny had a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, the spin around, throw.
That's a huge one.
The Duke game, there's a couple plays in there.
He looks like a spider.
Yeah.
Jumps back and finds Travis Labhart.
I'm sure Anais, Alabama. Who else? Devon.
That kickoff return is one of my all-time favorites. How about...
Wait, is it Anais, Alabama? Am I right about the game? I'm trying to think what other games.
Greg Porter in the back of the end zone just for the half against Oklahoma. in 02. That was pretty amazing.
Any play with
front of the program, Kendrick Rogers, a few great catches against LSU in that 7 overtime game.
Yeah. Anything with Bucky Richardson, because that was my favorite player growing up.
Okay. The favorite play. I remember Dennis Allen intercepting in 93.
Oh, the hit.
The ball, the hit. There's
freaking Q. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's TCU. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Quentin Curry, but it's TCU. That's like, spanking a toddler.
Yeah, but that play is infamous.
Okay, that was child abuse. Yeah, that was it was a great hit, and it kind of encapsulated what the Wrecking Crew was all about back then.
You got one for us, Reed?
Yeah, you kind of stole mine. That Devon Achane kick return touchdown against Alabama was. I was at that game. I was sitting about as high in the Kyle Field as you possibly could, and just felt the entire stadium shake beneath me.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, this past season had a couple plays that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, Nate Bokacher.
Yeah. Absolutely. But the ABR diving catch against South Carolina. I know it was just South Carolina. If that play doesn't happen, do they come back and win?
Maybe not.
That play, that started it all, right?
No, actually, it was a pass to Isaiah Williams.
No, I'm saying, but that's what started the scoring, correct?
No, the pass to
Isaiah Williams was before. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Made it 30-10.
There you go. Okay. And that play, you remember he came in and we're like, what's going on here? And it was within one or two plays of him being in?
Yeah. You mean Isaiah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they had the long pass, you're talking about that, to Ashton. And then Ashton catches a short pass and turns into like a 60-yard gain where they clip his heels. Mm-hmm. And so the next play, Marcel looks like he's going to run, draws in the linebacker, he just throws to the open spot to Bokacher. And now it's a one-touchdown game. They get the stop and they go down. What was the touchdown that actually gave them the lead? It's funny. It was a run. No? Was it the run?
I thought it was a run.
The run by EJ.
I thought it was a run.
KC had caught. Marcel had run for a touchdown about 30 yards. They call a holding penalty, a bogus holding penalty on Basantes. Marcel throws a pretty deep pass to the sideline, crossing to KC down to about the 5. And then EJ Smith following Trey Zune for the touchdown. That was it. Okay.
It was a 4-yard EJ Smith rushing touchdown. 4 yards.
I'm sorry, I said 5. Thanks for correcting me.
Another play from last year, because I'm thinking more last year than I am all-time history. I think the Craver first touchdown against Notre Dame.
Okay, that was amazing.
Because
spinning around like a top.
They were down 7-0 at that point. And I think you had a turnover, and Notre Dame had an opportunity to go up 2 scores. Then your defense stops them. Is that when you get the Scooby pick? No, I think
Scooby pick came a little bit later.
Okay, but you stop them.
Yeah.
And then here it is. Here's the throw right here. And then the video game action from Mario Craver here with the spin move in 3, 2, and 1.
That is amazing. I bet that boy could do some work on the 2-step and dance floor.
Yeah, that's from last year. Look, there's plenty of. If I sit down I start thinking throughout the years, there are many.
Oh, without you can go back to the Ed Hargett against Texas Tech. He had a great play that got him in the Cotton Bowl.
Yep.
There's so many. But I got to tell you, I don't know if I was. Now I remember Terrence Keel getting the interception to nail down the victory over number 1 Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember if Kyle Field was domed, I wouldn't be able to hear today. And I can't hear that much anyway. But I got to tell you, I don't think I ever saw a play that, to me, was more invigorating than what Reese was talking about, the A-chain. He's always going to be A-chain to me, that touchdown. Because it looked like all the momentum was with Alabama and then took it right back.
My favorite play of all time is Johnny Manziel against Bama here in 2013, where he ran about 30 yards backwards, threw it about 60 yards to get Edward Pope about 12 yards, right, OB? It was like a 3rd and 7.
It was Pagan was trying to it was almost on the sack, Jeffrey Pagan. So I said, he avoided Pagan and threw a prayer to the Pope, and it was answered. Unfortunately, about 3 plays later, they throw an interception in the end zone to a freshman that shouldn't even been out there.
Now this one, I'm going to just throw it. Well, we're late for a break, but I should have thought of this one way earlier. 1998 Big 12 championship game.
Which one?
Well, I'm going to go with Sir at the moment.
Sir, okay.
Sir Parker, right? Like,
you know what everybody forgets about that?
What's that?
Toya Jones making the tackle
That's exactly right.
On the Hail Mary at the 1 yard line.
Yeah. This one.
Good job, Toya.
This one I actually remember, but I didn't remember until I had to find it. Bucky Richardson had an 82-yard run. Was it Southern Miss?
Yeah, wasn't that his first start?
Yep. Well, it came off the bench in that game. So, anyway, we got a bunch we can talk about. Let's hit a break here. We'll come back with more. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance. They're my insurance provider. They should be your insurance provider. If you believe in, like quality people that give you awesome rates, and you can call them, you can go to 1775 with them. They can understand your situation, and they will, and they'll put you in the best possible situation when it comes to your insurance. Be it farm, it can be your automotive insurance, it can be your homeowner's insurance, you name it. Let Rollo Insurance take great care of you. They are in College Station. That's where their headquarters are, but they're all over the state of Texas and really all over the country. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or give them a call, 888-44-ROLLO. It's Rollo Insurance. We're back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, still sitting in our comfortable holistic planning
cool zone.
OB, talk to me a little bit about Marcel and his accuracy yesterday.
I thought he looked good.
There was a couple of deep ones, right?
Yeah, he threw one. I got to remember the numbers. Number 3. It's still early for me. And last year, Bethel Roman was 3, so I'm trying.
Right. Well, I think Isaiah Horton.
He's 7.
He's 7. Okay.
But anyway, he had to number 3 on the.
Oh, Aaron Gregory.
Gregory, the freshman. Who looked like that guy's going to be good.
That guy's going to be really good. Yeah.
So it's about, I would say, 30 something yards, and Gregory had a defender right on his back on the sideline. Boom, couldn't have been thrown better. Just right on the money. And then he had one that was going to be like a 40-yard, maybe 50-yard fly right down the sideline to Horton, and the DB was beat. But as he tried to recover, their feet got tangled. So it would have been a 15-yard pass interference call.
Maybe.
But it looked to me like the pass was going to be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he looked good. I mean,
they look fast.
Oh yeah, he had it looked to me like they're saying, okay. I mean, who knows? It's the 4th practice in the spring. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, right? But maybe it's what I want to happen, because I'm thinking I want to see
more movement,
more running, right? So one time he takes off running, and he puts we've seen him fake out people all over the place. Yeah. So he puts a move on Marco Jones and jukes around him for what would look like 20 yards before he runs out of bounds. I mean, he was very active in running and moving around. He looked really good.
Yeah. Did you see Brady Hart at all?
I mean, no. I thought I'm gonna struggle with the freshman quarterback from Utah's name, like Cayuga or
Iliman Kasuga.
I mean,
well, say it again.
Iliman Kasuga.
Yeah, look, I'm going to butcher that forever, right? I saw him out there, and I thought he was, sharp and others. But I have to admit, I was paying more attention to who was catching than who was throwing, and who was trying to keep them from catching. Because the same kid that did the 5 push-ups, got an interception later, and I saw Ricky Gibson grab one.
That's right. That's exactly right. I didn't get to chat with you about it. I'm sure you talked with Nick yesterday, but Pro Day, I really enjoyed the little session with E.J. Smith afterwards.
Yeah, he was really
good. And he a nice young man.
He is. I saw Emmett up there.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, I'm not going to go bother him.
Yeah.
Just saw he kind of not. We ended up talking more to Amari Daniels' mom.
What a wonderful family.
What a family, yeah. But EJ, I was so impressed with him this year.
Yeah.
He ran hard. He played with so much enthusiasm on special teams. He was a team guy.
You know what I'm embarrassed by, and what I love at the same time, is that there's certain players that I watch them early on.
That sounds like Irma talking about me.
There's certain players that I watch, I was like, God, I don't really want them in the game. And there was a point where I was like, when EJ would come in the game 2 years ago, I was like, I just don't know.
Right.
He wasn't healthy. We saw what a healthy EJ. Remember at the end of the year how good he looked a couple years back, and then last year he was an integral piece in what they did.
I think EJ has a better chance to make the NFL than most people think, and I think it's because of what he can do on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we talked about this with Nick yesterday. The first game of the year, I think it was, KC Concepcion returns a punt for a touchdown. EJ blocks 3 guys on it.
That's right.
When against LSU, he returns a punt for a touchdown. EJ's out there, and I remember there's one guy from LSU that still thinks he has a chance to make the tackle, and I can't remember who the guy was from A&M, but he doesn't know the guy's coming up, and I see EJ look at the guy and point behind you, just aware of what's going on. And I think that, an NFL team, I've seen an NFL team, you've seen it too, keep a guy because they're so good on special teams. I think EJ's going to have that shot.
I believe, I'm trying to remember because there's a lot of interviews, but I believe he said he has meetings set with the Cowboys and the Texans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think the Cowboys would certainly be interested.
Yeah.
The Texans, why not? I hope he plays for one of those teams, somebody close by.
I would love, $100 million smile, great personality, smart young man.
Great attitude.
Great attitude, does everything right. I had several interviews with him here in the studio, and he was one of my favorite guys to chat with.
Again, we talked about this yesterday. He's a good, hard, short yardage runner. I mean, if you need a yard, go back to the Arkansas game last year. 4th and 1 at their own, 34. They go for it. Tight end gets pushed back into the backfield. It could have been a 2-yard loss, and nobody could blame the running back.
Right.
But he bounces out and fights his way for that yard, and that was a almost forgotten play that was really huge, because what if, the way that game went,
Absolutely.
what if Arkansas taken over right there?
Yeah. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with Bank on it, and I'm sure will be some more football, maybe some text messages to get to as well. Right now, Milliken Reserve, they're a farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces. And I'm telling you, you like to be outdoors, go to Milliken Reserve. You like houses and nice ones? Go to Milliken Reserve. You like to throw the ball like OB does, or climb trees like OB does, or fly kites like OB does. You go to Milliken Reserve. It's a place that you can connect with your family outdoors and enjoy it all. What? You don't fly kites?
I haven't flown a kite in a long time.
Oh, I can see you flying a kite now.
Did you ever put razor blades on the ends of your kite so when you got into a kite fight, you could have a...
Never in my life.
Tape them on? Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I guess that was just a, Pleasant Grove kind of thing growing up.
I know I put my razor blade on the top of my hat and sliced you in the face with... That's from Peaky Blinders. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with Milliken Reserve. But you like being outdoors. You like
Crazy
sun.
guy like you. I thought you'd put them with apples at Halloween. Joke. He would never do that. Nobody would do that. Not even David is that.
Not even David?
Man, you just took a day off to go run for miles and do all this stuff. So, of course, you're a little bit odd.
Oh,
sorry, Milliken Reserve.
Milliken Reserve. Just check them out, I guess. MillikenReserve.com.
I wish I had Olin here for it, because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
Like this one?
You know, there's a difference between living and living well. You must be living well.
Why do you say that?
Well, all that exercise you're getting.
Yeah. I was a spare. I mean, I did it, but
Well, you don't. Look, I'm not trying to pat you on the back here, but to me, just being able to finish such a grueling event would be an amazing accomplishment.
well, thank you very much. OB, let's bank on it, shall we?
Okay.
Bank on it. Presented by Vera Bank, authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. What do you want to bank on?
Well, normally I would, go for long-hanging fruit, and I'd be talking about I'm banking on the baseball team to win the series at Missouri. They're better than Missouri. They're going to show it this time. But, I want to bank on my favorite softball player having a big series in Austin and helping the Aggies to at least one win, maybe even win the series. And that, remember who my favorite player was?
Remind me.
KK.
KK Dement?
Yeah, get demented over there in Austin.
All right, let's go, KK. Let's get that done. I'm going to bank on this. A&M is going to play with a lead in baseball more often than not, okay?
Okay.
I think oftentimes they haven't played with a lead, right, in SEC play. They're going to play with the lead. And I believe Shane Sadeo is going to set the tone tonight, and A&M is going to win the first game of the series. And again, if they play with the lead for a couple games, I like what I've seen from the pen. I think A&M's going to not only win the series, I think they're going to sweep the series.
Go sweep them. Sweep those Tigers.
And if I'm wrong on Monday, you guys won't remember. Or if you do, I won't read your text.
And nobody won't. I think they're better than Missouri. I wonder what that Missouri Park is like. And I wonder which way the wind's going to be blowing.
That's a definite Bronny Richard kind of conversation, Clendenin, right?
They'll be talking about
No,
that.
yeah. North wind and south wind, and they get it. I don't know. I don't notice wind until I notice wind.
I wasn't, obviously we were up in Oklahoma City, but I wasn't there. But the way it's described, the first home run that Georgia hit was like a pop fly.
It would have been a fly out to left field on any normal day, and it just kept blowing out, and it sailed out of there.
And then when they lost the game at Oklahoma, wasn't the win a huge factor in that?
On Sunday, the Sunday game, it was like 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. It was crazy.
And it affected some defensive plays from A&M. So, the win's a big deal.
Yep. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Got a couple minutes left in the segment before Jamie Morrison joins us here on the show.
National championship coach Jamie Morrison.
National championship head coach. A guy who likes to rebuild, right?
Yeah.
He builds something. It works to what's the word I'm looking for here? It not only works, but it works to the most ultimate level.
The pinnacle.
The pinnacle. Thank you. All right, Nigel, give us something.
So we'll go to the NCAA tournament, and everybody's talking
It's still
about.
going on?
Yeah, it's still going on, and what seemingly is the lack of Cinderella teams.
Okay.
Would y'all classify Iowa as a Cinderella team?
Under the current group of teams
they're
left.
a 9 seed.
Yeah.
A 9 seed in the Elite 8. So they're already better than their seed.
But when you think of Cinderella, we think of like 13 seeds.
Yeah,
50,
and
right?
you think of the schools that have enrollments in like the 3,000s and 4,000s.
So what's the next phrase to use? Cinderella, and then what's like the middle tier team? There's got to be a word for that. You got Cinderella, and you've got what? Like what's in the middle?
Of Cinderella?
No, I'm not in the middle. Cinderella. No, in the middle. Like, if Cinderella is
Ella.
Ella Langley? No,
hey.
that's elite.
Yeah. I like her song.
Yeah.
If LSU, which was terrible this year, if they got to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 next year, would that be a Cinderella team? I mean, because they were terrible.
No.
So you have to be a
coach.
mid-major to be a Cinderella? I don't agree.
That's the question. Like, can a power conference team be a Cinderella?
My answer is yes. Yes, said Chuck Norris. Yes.
Yes. I miss him. Niagara, good job, buddy. All right, we'll hit a break. OB, you're going to go do life, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going
I haven't had a real day off, and you either, well, until yesterday,
Yeah, I had a great
2
day
weeks,
off.
so I may just go home.
Go home. When we come back, listen to Jamie Morrison. After that, the baseball bunch. After that, I'll tap dance. After that, Billy Liucci. It's TexAgs Live.
Everybody, welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time to talk a little volleyball, spring volleyball, but we got to look back as well. The national championship head coach, Jamie Morrison, in studio.
Good to see you.
What's up,
it's
brother?
Good to see you.
Great to see you, man.
Yeah, no, I feel like we do this weekly, and then all of a sudden it's a long-lost friend that I haven't seen in forever.
Well, we can. We can do it anytime you want. I know you're busy right now.
If you like co-host, I'll come and interview Mike, and we can do that.
I'm actually taking a show off, so maybe you can host for me.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I won't coach for you if you need a break. But,
so, okay, we can just buy like trade roles. There's been a couple movies about that. We'll like trade big mop bodies, but like, yeah, you can come in for a day.
I think Kay would probably be better than me in most of the volleyball
you
roles.
got it. You got it.
So how has life changed?
It's busier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the unexpected. Like I was like literally just talking about this earlier today and yesterday. Like everyone talks about the championship hangover, and they talk about the fact that people are complacent. I think there's a piece of it also that just life gets busier.
Mm-hmm.
Like people want a piece of you, whether it be athlete or coach, and like you just get pulled in some different directions that you might not normally. So I've had to say no to more things than I probably ever have in my life, and be a little bit more selective. And I don't like doing that. Like you know me, I like being accessible. I like being around, and then just there has to be a little bit of a flip the page and again be hungry for what's coming. And I think the fact that we have a lot of new athletes kind of creates that. I think I talked about that last time I was on air. But yeah, I think that's different. I think it's interesting because I think people treat you differently even though you're not different. Like I'm the same person, the same coach that I was a year ago. It just took 3 years to get to that point, and if we continue on the same process, like hopefully knock on wood, it happens again. But I think those two things are different. But for me, I think I've kind of gone through different phases through it. I went here, and year one was the year of yes, of like anything I was asked of me, I was going to say yes to.
Right.
Trying to get a little bit of balance in my life right now, get myself back in shape and take care of myself a little bit as we go forward so that I can do this for years to come.
So I'm curious if this is what you thought, and I'm going to take you back. You thought this could be a championship place, which it's proven to be. You thought we could build a Nebraska-type culture, right? And I think we're on our way to that. And we're talking about from the fans.
Yep.
So have your first few years at A&M, including a national championship, including all the success you've had, has it exceeded what you thought this place could be? Has it been what it's about to be? I know it's going to continue to get bigger, right? I know we're going to fill Kyle Field one day and we're going to do all that, right? But like, in this short journey, does it feel like, wow, this is everything I thought was possible, not only happened, it might be a little bit better.
Yeah, and I was looking off the distance deep in thought, not necessarily because the question kind of needed, it was just, I'm probably going to take it an avenue like different. Like, it's not necessarily like what we did that's exceeded, like the place has exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it be the resources that are provided from our administration, from the 12th Man Foundation and the donors that kind of give to what we're doing, it can be the way that I think there's a really, really good balance between academics and athletics here, where there's an understanding that like, hey, like we're going to have to go on some road trips, but some trust from the administration that like we're going to make this about the 4-year process of getting a degree. I don't know, the way that we can support our athletes, whether it be on the court or off the court, or the dining hall that we just, I don't know, just got back from there. And the way that we get to eat is better than probably most Olympians. So all of these things add up into, everyone talks about the 1% and continuously getting those. Like we get those over and over and again through the support of everybody that's around this. Again, whether it be the administration, our donor base, everything along those lines. And I think that has caused the result on the court to be better than I thought it would be after year 3. Mm-hmm. And all of those small little things, they add up into ginormous things. And I don't know, players get sick of coaches saying that. And probably people, I don't know, that are in the business world get sick of their CEO saying that. But it's 100% true. It's never these drastic things. It's all these small little ones that add up into something great. So I think all of it's exceeded my expectations.
A&M rewarded you with a new contract through 2031. We're excited about that. You rewarded us with your loyalty to this community. Yeah. So talk to me about that. Like, like you are invested. This is your place, and you've already built something that you're going to continue to rebuild.
Yeah. No, I think just gratitude is the number one thing to everybody, whether it be leadership of the university, to Trev, to our administration, to Christy, who is our SWA, for trust in myself and our coaching staff. And again, this is not just me; it's an extension of the people that are around this, so the entire staff and players. The trust that we're on the right path to go create something special. So there's gratitude, and then there's just, I really mean this, I'm not done yet. Like, I didn't come here to necessarily win one, and I might not, I just want to get this out of the way, we might not win another one, like, but we're going to be in the mix every single year, and that was my goal to get to the spot. And again, Nebraska was the creme de la creme, Texas was up there, like, to get to this spot where we're continuously in the mix every single year, but besides that, build a fan base that loves what we're doing. And for me, it's just this continuing process of like, and I'm competitive in a different way. Like getting to there matters as much to me as winning that championship. And you can see from, I don't know, my behavior on the sidelines, the way that I act, the way I act joyful. I love competing in those moments, but that's not the be all end all. The long term of how we build this thing into something big and special is the thing that's most important to me. So again, the extension was just the trust that we're heading in that direction. And for me, it's like, I'm still hungry.
Right.
I still want to take this further, and there's still steps that we can take. And we're getting closer and closer, and it's amazing. And the vision is kind of coming true, but like we got some more meat on the bone to chew off right now.
How many picks have you taken?
A lot. I think that's the biggest. And again, like I feel this responsibility to give back. I was talking to another coach, and they're like, "Hey, it's your turn." Somebody else that won a national championship, and they were like, "Hey, it's your turn to be, I don't know, the voice for volleyball and the thing for volleyball." So I feel this, and I was always like, I got to work with Coach Karai, who's the greatest to ever play our sport. And I remember talking to him once. He was just amazing with every fan that came up. And this is just a lesson to anybody, any athlete that's listening to this, whether you're young, old. And he just said, like, I've gotten so many emails or messages 20 years later about how that moment changed somebody's life. And you just never know when it's going to be the thing that lights the fire that somebody loves the sport that I love. And like, so it's my way. I don't know. Everyone feels guilty about it and they come up. I had somebody come up and ask to go take a picture with their kid, and their kid was warming up for a match this weekend. But I was like, all right, I can't do that one. But there's a responsibility to it. And I'm fine with it. It's cool. It's awesome. There's again a weird piece of me that's like, I'm the same I was a year ago. I didn't want my picture then, but it's for me, and I told our athletes this all the time. It's their responsibility to do that too. It could change somebody's life. So
I'm curious how people treat you different. And I'm going to go more to the coaching community. Do they look at you more, or maybe everything's the same, but more like, oh, he's already done it. He's now my rival. Not, you know. Do they look at you as like, holy smokes, dude, you're a national champion? Like, has that changed at all your dynamic with other coaches?
I think, and again, one of the things I'm most prideful of, I was just talking to same coach, actually, a different phone call yesterday about, I think one of the things I'm most prideful for, and I was talking to somebody else while I was out recruiting this weekend about this, like, is there are a select number of programs and administrations that I think believe in what our sport can become. And I think I added to that list here at Texas A&M. And that's the thing that, for me, brings me the most pride. And I think with that, like, there's this upper echelon. It's not, and I think people, when I took the job 3 years ago, they're like, oh, it's cool. I'm curious to see what he can do there. Now it's like, oh, crap. Like, we're there in the mix now. Like, the administration is treating us like them with, again, the funding and everything that comes along with that. And you can see it in the way that our fans are showing up and doing all these things. And like, all of these things are starting to add up to like we're showing up on the threat analysis of SWOT now. Like, it's not like we're on that now of like, all right, like this is something. But I think, on all honesty, like the thing that's really amazing about our sport is our coaches care. They want the sport to grow. They care about that more. And the fact that that's been added in there is more of a plus than it is anything else. And I think there's just respect that, again, myself and the staff brought this thing to where it is right now.
Talking to Kay before the segment, she was kind of giving me some insight. The offense may look a little different, right? You guys relied on veterans for a long time.
Yep.
You know, you have some coming back. I think it's 25% returning.
Something like that, yeah.
But obviously, Logan's is playing pro, doing great. Talk to us about what it could look like. I know you can't tell me too much because
I could like we went, and if you go look at our offense last year, it'd be as if I don't know. This isn't the wrong analogy, but like if you had a quarterback that was one-dimensional and could run, and all of a sudden you have this thing, and you're going to see more throwing. Like we have three middles that really want to run off one leg now. And before we had our middles in front of the setter, we're going to have our middles a little bit more behind the setter. And you'll see that during the spring. It's not going to be rocket science as we're getting in here, so I don't need to keep things secret. But you're probably going to see that a little bit more. And I think the one thing, and literally I just got done talking about this team after practice today. And I said this, I started off the season, and I'm just, to the fan base, I just encourage you this too. Like, my biggest worry is just comparisons to last year's team. And like, they didn't do it that way. It's a different team. They're going to do things differently. They're going to figure things out. But like, each team has its own superpowers. And I was just talking, like, this team like is really, really good at like small little touches of being able to scrap the ball up in the air and get a set out of it and do some stuff, and better than maybe any team I've ever coached. But I think you got to find those with whatever team it is and beef them up more and make sure that that becomes a piece of your identity. So I think the offense will look a little different. I think we'll be a little bit, I don't know, able to kind of put some balls up in some random places. But it's going to be finding different ways to win. And it's not the same blueprint as what we had last year. And the coolest thing is we kind of went from this practice phase right now, and we get to go put it out to the test against people in some different colored uniforms this weekend, and then see what it looks, and then refine when we get back and kind of figure out what those are as the next 4 weeks go on.
Tell us some about some of the names that we're going to get to know here over the next few months and season.
Yeah. I think one, you're going to see some people that maybe didn't play as much last year. And just, I'm going to use Addie Applegate. She was on the court for half the time, but she's got some of the best feel, in the country. And then you got Gabby Rodriguez, who was there, kind of came in and was an Under Armour All-American. I think the three of them, and I'm going to throw Jenna Thedford in this mix and talk about them as a group, but came in here from Houston Skyline. And the last two are freshmen. The other one's a sophomore. And again, they're going to look a lot younger. But I think that group has kind of picked up the ability to pass. And I think the three of them, I think we got three of the best ones in the country kind of as you get in there. And then in the middle blocker position, Gia was here last year. And then you're adding Kaya Castle. And you're adding Eliza Sharp. And again, you got three middles now that really want to run off one leg. And how can we get that incorporated into our offense in some different ways, but then teach them how to have a well-rounded game. And one of the things in the recruiting process for all three, whether it be Gia, who's international, or the other two who are coming here, we want to prepare them for what's next. And that's, you got to be able to do everything. So you got those in there. And then Megan Fitch was sitting, and you saw her a little bit last year, but just incredible ball control, ability to go put the ball away in some different ways, and just a really good all-around volleyball player. And then Natalie Ring coming in from Marquette. She was a third-team All-American, and you're going to see kind of this mix of these. And then obviously you got Kendall and you got Amari. I'm going to say also that's kind of there is you have this group that are able to kind of go put the ball away and play the entire game right now. And I think you're going to see the group of them kind of step out in the spring and then do some crazy stuff.
As a coach, obviously you love building that last team, but the building project, right? Isn't that fun for you? In going through some of the challenges?
This is my favorite piece. Yeah, by far. And just I actually talked to our staff. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be like a serial entrepreneur where I'm just doing startup, and I just love the challenge and being on the edge of trying to figure things out and how these puzzle pieces fit together and how things go along those lines. So, and then the teaching piece, it's really at the core of me. I'd be something, and if I were to be a dream job outside of this, it'd be something in the startup world and education.
Yeah.
I love teaching, and I love trying to figure out how to make culture out of new pieces and make that work.
I asked Bobby Shuttleworth this, I think yesterday, about the spring season. How do you look at it? You're a competitor, you want to win every match, right? For sure, that winning is important, but also tinkering, playing, seeing players in different positions, or maybe giving somebody the opportunity to play that doesn't. How do you kind of manage all that in the spring?
Yeah, it's an art, I think. Yeah, you want to win. And it's not the be-all, end-all to me. Let me just go ahead and say that. I'm mentioning it first, but it's probably the last thing. One, it's pressure testing the work that's been put in. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because most of the time where you kind of do these things, you stat all the practice and you go look at it, and your offensive numbers are a lot lower. And then all of a sudden you play against somebody else that's not used to seeing yourself every single day. Right. And all of a sudden it works great. So it's putting those things, and then we're playing around with some different things about, hey, is this going to work? Is it not? So that way when we get to the fall and the W's and L's actually count towards something,
yep.
You know what's going to work, you know what to put out there. And then it's giving different people a chance to go shine. Again, I talked about Megan and Amari from last year. They're going to get a chance to step out on the floor and go play right now. Right. They get a chance to go grow and develop. And you learn a lot through those moments of being put under pressure by somebody else. Or again, going back to the flip side of it, when I said our offense, we're used to seeing it. We're not used to seeing what they run, about making sure that people are put in that environment, that they are able to go out there and kind of take care of those things. So I think it's a mix of all of that. And then I've said it on the air, a rising tide carries the ships here of can we get the entire team to do this throughout the spring, through those matches, through our practices, and then get to the spot where we're into the fall where, again, we won a national championship. It was as much a result of the 7 or 8 people that were on the floor. And I've said this the entire time. If you are a national championship caliber team, what happens in your practice gym should be the best competition you see all week. If you're that good, it should be, hey, we're doing this, and the matches are just this thing we have to go do on a Friday and a Sunday. I'm not saying have to. It's this thing you get to go do, and you get to go compete and put on a uniform, but this should be fun.
Right.
If we're doing this the right way, recruiting the right athletes and training in the right way, this practice environment should be where it's at.
Last thing for you, I'm looking at the schedule this week. We've got the Sam Houston game on Saturday, 1 o'clock, and then a few hours later, the Houston game at 6:30. Just talk about, because there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, and it's before I forget it, because I will forget it at the end. There's a 5 o'clock Chalk Talk. So if you want to look that up, look up Chalk Talk, I think through Playfly. You can look that up and kind of get in there and sign up for that if people are interested in coming and hearing a little bit about the championship run from our players, from myself. I'm probably going to throw a little bit of scouting reports in there and then kick into that 6:30 match. But again, I know who we're playing. We're not going to scout them at all. It's not anything about this. It's a chance that I think for people to come out and see, one, new personalities that are on our team.
the way they compete. Like my second part of the message today was just I'm curious to see how we show up as competitors when we have somebody else on the other side of the net. But if you want to come see that, it'll be my first time also. We can both watch it together. But then just I think the second thing is just I'm always big on like Friday is our chance, and like I don't know when we play Fridays and Sundays are our chance to show off the work that we put on throughout the week. And I would love for people to come out and again get the first taste of this new iteration of this team. But the second thing is show respect for the amount of work that's been put in. Give these girls, I don't know, especially the new people that are here. We talked about it when we stepped in to read for the first time today. That I think we've built something unique, amazing, and it's something that needs to be defended and fought for, just in the environment that's at Reed Arena. So I would love for those new additions to see what that looks like and feels like.
Jamie, it's been too long.
Has been.
Let's do it again here real soon,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
During the spring run.
Yeah. We can do it for sure.
Appreciate you, sir.
Jamie
Morrison here. All right, Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs. We recorded that, I believe, on Wednesday afternoon to run today because what a great day to get ready for some spring volleyball and, of course, some Aggie baseball, which we're going to talk about on the other side as they get ready for the Missouri series. We'll have the baseball bunch guys here in studio momentarily. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films. What they do is they preserve family stories that would otherwise be lost forever. My buddy runs the company. His name is Chance McClain. I don't do a lot of advertisement and businesses with people who are like lifelong friends because I don't like blurring the lines because I want to make sure that you're taken care of the right way. And Chance McClain takes care of you the right way. He'll tell your family's story better than anybody out there. He'll do a 2-hour documentary for your family business, or your family ranch. I know you've heard this spot before, but if you have thought about it and you just haven't called Chance up yet, you should call him up and find out what it would take for him to do your family story. Let him be an eye in the sky at family events. Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, whatever big Thanksgiving, have him come out there and be an eye in the sky of a family event and tell your family story. Interview everybody, get the B-roll, get the whole thing done. I think you're going to love it. He is Chance McClain. The company is Heritage Films. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. Call him up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. And we're back. It is.
I'm so caught off guard.
I know, and we didn't give any heads up. The door's wide open.
Ooh.
We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, there was a 3-minute break. Scott was ready. You guys are over here talking about pimento cheese.
No, not to talk about the Friday starter for Mizzou.
That's exactly the type of baseball jargon I would expect out of one of the two yahoos of the go hour.
It is almost time for pimento cheese, though. The Masters is next month.
Well, I was going to say, Bronny, you were speaking earlier about people who, have this, the way they go about their business at certain places. And then you do the same thing.
How?
You pick, you can't just roll with it. See, a seasoned broadcaster rolls with it. And Scott Clendenin's a seasoned broadcaster. I'm a seasoned one.
Wait. We're old. Seasoned equals old.
So
he just said, I'm old. Thank you. I appreciate you saying I'm old.
I am too, though. I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, we're back.
That's what I did.
You did not say that.
I said, and we're back.
Right, when the cameras were on.
Oh, most people are ready. I stay ready. You should be.
All right, Jocko. I bet you've listened to that Anto Saka interview 12 times already.
4. Okay, but I was busy yesterday, but 4 times. Right? And I did listen to Jocko yesterday on my drive to Houston. Anyway, hey, baseball bunch guys, how are you?
Doing great.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm not upset.
You kind of attacked me, too,
okay.
Just for the record, so I'll remember that later. Anyway.
No. He can stuff me in a locker.
24 games in. 2-4 in SEC play. Let's get a temperature check. Mr. Clendenin, you start us off, please.
Starting pitching needs to be more consistent. Hitting, I like the direction they're going in. I think with what I saw on Tuesday night, I saw a couple guys that could go out there and eat up innings each Tuesday, and I think that's still important. If you could say, hey, we're going to compartmentalize, these pitchers are going to be on Tuesday, and we're not going to swing you on the weekends, you might then have the opportunity to have locked in on the weekends. Because I think Gavin Lyons has got a very important role. But Hubert and Cunningham, I really liked what I saw from them. And they did a good job holding down Houston Christian. And then Fresh Corn at any point in time. I thought that Bronny had a great point on the broadcast that here you put him in a position where he had to touch the grease a little bit and get the blood flowing to be in a situation where the game could still be on the line. And I thought that was good to have Fresh Corn in that situation. So defense been rock solid, and you're going to need it because I'm just under the impression you're not going to have as good a time in the weather in Missouri and on their field as you do at Bluebell Park.
The defense has had to be good because, more importantly, because you don't have a pitching staff that creates a ton of swing and miss. So the ball is being put in play at a really high level. Temperature check, something I've said all week. You're 2-4 in the league, not good enough, but it's so much more palatable if you're 3-3. It just feels it goes down a lot better at 3-3 through 2 SEC series against top 10 clubs. But it does heighten the importance of this weekend. And I saw the banner on the poster for the show today on the YouTube page. It was like must-sweep weekend for Texas A&M. I think that's a little bit much. Like, this is not a must-sweep weekend, but you got to win the weekend.
Yeah.
And because you have lost a series at home, you need to even it out by going and winning one on the road. If it unfolds just so that you have an opportunity going into Sunday to sweep, I think you'd feel really good, given how Missouri has played Fridays and Saturdays extremely close. Now, we'll talk about what they've got going on the injury front starting tonight, but the games on Sundays have gotten away from them, and they're not super deep. I think they're better than they were last year, but they're not very deep. So you can get to certain elements of their team. So the goal isn't to sweep, and I think if you asked Coach earlier, are you going up there to sweep? He would tell you, no, we're going up there to win tonight. If we win tonight, then we're going to try to win tomorrow. And then all that works out. You talk about sweep on Sunday, but got to go get one tonight. I think with Mizzou's starter being on the shelf, again, we'll get into that. Like, this is a really good opportunity for the first time in your SEC slate to get off to a start that you want.
To steal a line from Bronny's baseball thoughts earlier in the week, it's been so far so meh from this team. I think they're good. I don't know how good, and I'm still waiting to see if they're going to be good enough, right? I've seen some signs of positivity that give me some confidence. The offense and the defense, number one. And then I just need to see more from the starting pitching. We know it's going to begin and end with the starting pitching and Shane Sadeo, Weston Moss, Aiden Sims. If the three of them can put it all together and have quality, I'm not talking about the statistical definition of a quality start, but give you quality starts on the bump, gives you a good chance to win each game this weekend. And as Bronny said, I don't know if it's a must sweep, but it is a must-win weekend. You need to come home with at least 2 victories this weekend because look at what you still have ahead of you. You've got 3 top 10 opponents. You've got road trips to Baton Rouge and Gainesville. You have to take care of business this weekend, and then we'll talk about needing to take care of business next weekend before the gauntlet truly heats up yet again.
But is anything, and I'm just asking because baseball's a long season, is anything ever really a must-win series when you still have so much left? Now
they
you
started
don't like
1-9 last year,
right?
Yeah. They started 1-9 in the league last year, and if we've said it ad nauseum, but if it weren't for the Mizzou just complete, utter, inexplicable series sweep at home, you were on your way to 14 SEC wins after starting 1-9.
Yes, and that's when it was must win, was at the end of last year, to your point.
Right.
But at the beginning, you have to take care of your business. I look at the statistics. There's no 6-0 team this year. There's no 0-6 team this year. I mean, there's a reason why all those teams are 4-2. And really, Florida getting a sweep in week 1 and getting swept by Alabama in week 2 is really the outlier. Everything else has been, hey, can we go 2-1? Can we escape? If we do sweep, well, last week we went 1-2, and now we're still sitting here at 4-2. There's a lot of baseball to be played. But as opposed to last year, nobody is running away with the league right at the beginning. You had 2 teams that ran away at the league at the beginning and then had to get brought back to the fold. And that has not happened. That is not what the league is so far this year. And one of the reasons why is Missouri. Missouri goes and wins the first game against Tennessee and changes that dynamic because they're not on that long losing streak. And you'd be sitting there with Tennessee being another one of those 4-2 teams if they had swept Missouri at home. So you look at those things and say, hey, you've got to go on the road and try to win a series. And if you get 2-0, then you can have a disappointing Sunday if you don't you don't get the sweep. Georgia went through that last week. They probably sitting 2-0 pretty good, thinking, hey, the ball's flying out of the ballpark. We got to expect that we're going to have a chance to get a sweep, and then you took it away from them right away. So they did leave with a little bit of disappointment, even though they had a 2-1 week on the road at A&M, and they you got to commend them for that because they got after you. But I still look at those numbers on Friday night. That was 2 weird home runs. I don't normally see home runs hit above 47% launch angle that leave the ballpark, especially when both of them thought that they're going to be caught for pop flies. Saturday, different story. But Friday night was a weird windblown kind of offensive output that really helped Georgia.
Let's talk about tonight, though, for a second. Okay, the importance of tonight for the entire series, but especially with Bronny, what you're alluding to, the injury situation to their Friday night starter.
Yeah, Pimentel's not going to go tonight. They said something on the Wednesday broadcast when Missouri played Lindenwood about him exiting or having some, I thought they said foot issue, but they're going to bump up Josh McDevitt. Good stuff. You see 40 strikeouts and 31 innings pitched, but the thing that really pops is the difference between walks and he and Shane Sadeo, and the difference in walks as a staff between Missouri and Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. Scott mentioned the weather. It's going to be cold. I've got no idea how the wind affects that stadium up there. I'm guessing that cold and north wind's going to be will blow in. A front will blow in. I don't know if that affects how the ball flies, but it is tougher to hit in those type of conditions. So, putting people on first base for free in a game that is going to be affected by the weather is an enormous element to that game. And Shane has gotten bloodied a little bit, but he doesn't really put you on first base for free. You're going to have to beat Shane. You have to earn it to beat Shane. I do like that for A&M. And we know that, just go back a couple of weekends ago when Oklahoma's starter was spraying the ball everywhere, and A&M is actually offensively, they've been really good at getting starters out of the game. And I think despite it not working like they wanted it to in game 1 and game 2 due to outstanding bullpen outings from Georgia, I think if you told Michael Early and Cliff Pennington, hey, your offense is going to continuously get starters out by the fourth inning, they'd take it the entire year. They would take that the entire year because the reason why some of those guys are in the bullpens is because they're not as good as the starters.
Yeah. Richard, to me, to that original point, though, not only winning on a Friday night on the road after what's happened so far, but taking advantage of this scenario, trying to jump ahead when their main guy who goes on Friday isn't going to be there.
Well, absolutely. I don't know how deep Missouri is. I mean, they're projected to finish 16th in the league for a reason, but I don't know the dudes they've got in their bullpen or their pitching staff if Pimentel can't go at all at this point, because he is listed as doubtful. He's not completely ruled out, but it seems like he's not going to throw at all this weekend. They've left Sunday TBA. Just puts a little bit more pressure on Shane Tadeo, and I think there's always pressure on Shane Tadeo, and he wants that pressure. It's why he's your Friday night guy, but he's got to set the tone. He's got to set the tone. He's got to pitch deep into this ball game tonight and allow you to pick and choose your spots to deploy your top relievers, because we know A&M's not deep in the bullpen either.
Yep. Let's hit a break here in a second, but before we do that, let's read a text. I know there's an excellent baseball text that came in from Cody Reese, the Angry Elephant, Houston Social Center.
Cody had a great text that said, "Oh my, stop the bickering. You're in the studio. Be ready."
Oh, I thought it was a baseball text. Never mind. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate that. Right now, we're talking about real peace of mind when it comes to your money. Check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors, an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. What sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA, all on staff. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. And we're back.
Brauninger, we came back.
Yeah, I got tipped off by Holden back there.
Holden?
Yeah, you don't know Holden?
Tell me more, or maybe not.
Oh.
Is there a joke behind this that I don't know about?
I'm not doing it.
Okay, let's not do it. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. Baseball Bunch here. Scott Clendenin.
Yeah, Holden and Willie, they work in the back.
Richard Zane and Ryan Brauninger here in studio. Guys, can we talk Aiden Sims for a minute? How good he's been the last couple Sundays?
Ronnie, you want to start?
Well, the Sunday before last, he was no good.
That's true.
But he was outstanding last week. And the stuff, to me, he's like a similar version to Caden Sorrell. Like when Caden Sorrell swings at pitches in the strike zone, Caden Sorrell's as good as anybody. And when Aiden Sims throws the ball in the strike zone, he's as good as anybody. Like the metrics tell you that. And then what your eyes tell you also reinforces that. Like he gets swing and miss on fastball in zone, which is always a good indicator of the life of the fastball, but it also plays really well off of this sweeper that he's got at over 3,000 RPMs. And what have we seen more of starting about mid-start for Shane Sadeo, and then especially on Sunday for Aiden Sims, and then we saw it a lot more on Tuesday night. So something to keep in the back of your mind is pitch usage by the A&M staff. We are seeing a lot more true curveballs, a lot more. Weston Moss does not have one, so we didn't see one from Weston Moss. But Cole Hubert has one, Grant Cunningham definitely has one, Sadeo has one, and Aiden Sims has one. I think Aiden Sims went from like 5% curveball usage on the year. I think he threw almost 20 of them against Georgia. That's a massive difference in pitch usage. So you're not going to go out and get new arms. You got what you got, and that's what Coach Early says. The pitching is the pitching. That's what that kind of means, is like we don't have a lot of other options to go in games, or you would have seen them by now. So how can you adjust in season if it's not going your way? How are you using the pitches that you have? Do we need to make alterations in pitch usage? What did that do for Chris Cortez when he was at Texas A&M? Completely changed the outlook of his career. Whenever he started throwing the slider as the predominant fit pitch, and he would play the 100-mile-an-hour fastball off of that. Completely changed who he was. And the slider was not in zone all the time, but the action of it was so good that you got a bunch of swing and miss out of zone. Shane Sadeo on the curveball, a bunch of swing and miss out of the zone. Same deal with Aiden Sims. So on a team that has a lot of flat stuff, and what I mean by flat stuff is if you look at their induced vertical break, they create either ride or run. So they don't have a lot of sink, that the ball doesn't go down very often in anything they throw. The slider sweepers are a lot of horizontal movement. So they went, okay, we are struggling with swing and miss. How can we do something different to create more swing and miss? Well, let's add something that plays off of this kind of plane that we work on, this flat and up plane. Let's get something that goes down. And how can we increase the usage of it and make the pitch effective? So that takes work in the bullpen. It takes work in with pitch shapes in the pitching lab, like understanding your shape on your curveball. Cole Hubert threw a couple that were really good that got like takes for strike threes in his Tuesday start. They are shifted a little bit more than like Sadeo's is going to be more over the top. Aiden Sims is more over the top. Cunningham's is almost directly over the top. So within each pitcher, the shape of that curveball is going to be a little bit different in terms of how it breaks the axis of it, but it does provide something going down for a pitching staff that has a lot of stuff that's going up or side to side.
And I thought that that's why Cunningham's appearance on Saturday was so important, because you put that into effect, and then you can see it becomes a game plan the next day. I mean, here's Cunningham, who hasn't had a great deal of success up until that point in time. He has a pitch that Georgia's not hitting. It's a pitch that's in some other guy's toolkit, and hey, we're gonna use that. And then you come back on Tuesday again, and Cunningham does it again. So he did it against OU. Still took the loss, but did it some against OU. Then he throws it on Tuesday. He throws it again on Saturday, and he throws it again on Tuesday. So you're showing, hey, not only is it working for me, but you do have that pitch. And I think that's where you go to Weston Moss. Don't all of a sudden try to make him throw a pitch that he doesn't have. That just leads to worse problems. But that's why I thought that Cunningham has played a key role, because he backed up the fact that, hey, this pitch can get guys out, and it does change the eye angle and everything he does. And he's having some resurgence.
Well, who's been the most effective bullpen arm so far this year?
Clayton Freshcorn.
Clayton Freshcorn. And I would go, Gavin Lyons is right there. He's not been as good as Freshcorn. Gavin Lyons, is he blowing you away with raw stuff? No, but it presents way different than everybody else. It is an arm side sink fastball on a staff that's a bunch of ride run. Now, it's a staff that's a bunch of ride run without a lot of 95 to 100 mile an hour velo. So it even makes more sense to me in my brain that you start adding more shape down to those guys, right? Because the elevated fastball, if it's not, if it's 90 to 93, they can still get up there and get it. So I better have something that goes the opposite direction. Whereas like you watch Georgia, and Georgia, like Volchko was like, he was actually ride cut. Sometimes like it was all over the place, but that guy doesn't need no true curveball. He's going to throw 100, and he's a big giant dude. Like you've got to look at the arsenal that the pitcher possesses, kind of mentality of it, and then how it fits within your overall scheme of your staff. But if this is a trend that's going to continue, and maybe it was just against Georgia, they're like, man, these guys are big swingers. We better find something that goes the other direction. Or if it's kind of a season-long trend to attempt to fix a problem that they've got on the roster, we'll learn more as the data continues to unveil itself. But it's been a noticeable uptick in true curveball usage starting on Friday night in about the second or third inning.
Richard, do you think this weekend could go any way into changing up the rotation, staying the same? Does this weekend mean anything moving forward, you think?
Did Olin write this question?
Well, it came from Olin.
It could, right? If things don't go their way, but I like. Or Aiden
if
Sims.
It goes their way, it solidifies it, right?
Yeah, if it goes their way, I like Aiden Sims on Sundays. I know there's been a lot of talk about taking Weston Moss out of the rotation or maybe moving him back. I think that, to Ronnie's point, the pitching is the pitching. The arms they have are the arms they have. I like them in those roles, and I like Aiden Sims in that Sunday spot because I know walking into the ballpark in the series finale, I've got the better starting pitcher more often than not, right? Unless you see Dylan Volantis at Texas, then it's a little bit more skewed in their favor. But Aiden Sims has been fantastic in that spot, so I don't know why you need to mess with it just yet. If you go back and you look at A&M's first 6 conference games, where has A&M's starting pitcher been the better starting pitcher? I would say Friday night against Georgia, and just because Volchko was so bad and was out of the game so early, but
Friday against OU.
Friday against Oklahoma, but you lost the ball game. And then Weston Moss on Saturday against Oklahoma. And then Aiden Sims on Sunday against Georgia. So leave them in their spots.
And you've got Vanderbilt coming up. That's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you're going to have a little bit of tweak. A little bit of a tweak there because of Easter. And, that's one of the things you have to look at. I didn't go back and look and see who started for OU last night. But that's 2 weeks in a row that they've been Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which
Mercurius started.
Mercurius started. So I just think that, you're going to have a little bit of a change. You've got to work through that. You've got to be ready for it because it's not as often this year for A&M as it has been some years in the past.
Can I say one quick thing before we go to break about starting pitching?
Sure.
I think, especially for Weston Moss, Shane has done it a little bit, but Shane can compartmentalize and kind of work his way through it in his brain. I think those two are pitching emotionally, not pitching with emotion. They pitch, their personality comes out more when they pitch than it did for like Prager, Lampkin, and Patton.
You told us that before the season, too.
But there are levels within that. Like, Shane competed his tail off, but every time you make a mistake, I don't need to see the body language immediately once you throw the pitch that you're disappointed in yourself. Same deal with Weston Moss. Like, I'm fine with you showing some emotion, and especially if that's your personality and you're genuine with it, but don't be emotional. There's a big difference. And whenever the ball started going, when it started going bad for Weston Moss on Saturday against Georgia, I thought his emotion, the vibe he was giving off on the mound, trickled down to the rest of the defense. So that was my in-stadium observation of what my eyes were telling me after.
But how do you fix that?
You say, I don't care. Like, you're pissed you gave up a homer. Fine. Don't, show it on – just give me the next ball. Like, you want it – show determined emotion rather than negative emotion. And maybe that gets the guys behind you to just hit their glove. Hey, let's go. You're okay. Let's go. Yep. That kind of thing. Whether it's he's upset, and I understand he's a competitor, And he said this in post games before, like, I'm pissed because I know I'm better than this. Well, that's fine, but I don't need to know how pissed you are by the look on your face.
So
like, give me some positive body language to fix the negative.
Is that a learned thing? Is that sometimes who you are?
That can be checked.
Okay.
Like, I think if it happens again this week, I think JK would go to the mound and try to fix it.
And maybe Bear helps you as well if it's something that you're focused on.
Yeah, and like Shane does a better job of like bouncing, but Shane's been, I think, overly emotional as well. But you'd rather guys, because it matters to them. It really matters to them. They want to be good, but they've got to channel it better because, I had an old coach say, turds roll downhill. Well, there's only one hill on a baseball field. So if it's bad up there, the body language and energy is bad up there, it will roll down to the rest of the team.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back with the final segment here with the baseball bunch right now. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. At Caldwell Country Chevrolet, they don't just sell cars. They build relationships that last. That's why people continue to go back. They have repeat business all the time with their strong and committed sales staff that guide you through the entire process every step of the way. And the service does not stop after the sale. They offer complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. And they're a proud supporter of Aggie athletics and local charities. They're invested completely into this community. Experience what it's like to do business with a dealership that actually cares about you and your future. Handshake still means something at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The baseball bunch gentlemen here with us. All right, guys, keys to the weekend in your opinion. Scott, if you can start us off.
Well, the shuffling of the pitching staff. They've struggled on Sunday. All of a sudden, you're moving your Sunday starter to Saturday because you're short one guy. You have to take advantage of that. And then their TBA on Sunday, for a team that's been pretty good pitching staff-wise in a couple of games on the weekend, now you're down to one. And you need to have some success. And that's why, obviously, this first game is such a focus. And you make steps in the right direction. But look again. I look here on the projected starters, 6 teams with TBA this weekend in the SEC. And Ole Miss TBA on 2 starts this weekend. You have to have this pitching staff for A&M raise their level and be solid each and every week and have that consistency. And you'll run into some of these teams that have questions on who even their starters are.
I agree with Scotty. I mean, it's going to begin and end with starting pitching. I said it in the first segment. It remains true each and every week in this league. Big time. Need a big time start today from Shane Sadeo. Get the tone set. Get juices flowing in the right direction. Help you out the rest of the weekend. I'm also interested to see in what they do at the DH spot. How they platoon that. Wesley Jordan listed as probable this weekend. What do they do versus right-handers? What do they do versus left-handers? Because Coach Early on this program and then in his press conference yesterday alluded to more opportunities for Jorian Wilson. How do you get Jorian Wilson into the game? You got to take somebody out of the outfield. But I don't think you're going to take Jake Dewar's bat out of the lineup ever.
Yeah, I think I would have a scouting report based off looking at looking at Missouri's staff and some of the games that I've watched. I'd have a scouting report on it, and it would say swing?
Question mark.
How often can they get to first base this weekend? In a ballpark that's not going to have a lot of juice, you can try to overdo to create your own juice. And weather conditions that's not going to allow you to impact the baseball like maybe you normally would, can you get to first base? And in order for you to get to first base, sometimes that means you do not have to swing.
Yeah. Durham on the YouTube page says, hard to sit Bindi. He's been playing very, very well.
It's hard to sit Bindi, and then it's hard to sit Jorian. The good thing is they hit from different sides of the plate. So like Richard said, maybe
they're not covering each other up.
Maybe it's determined by the hand with which the starting pitcher throws. And again, Richard was correct. Jake Dewar is not coming out of the order. So I think if Jorian is your choice in one of those spots, you slide TK to left and Jorian plays right, and I think your outfield defense gets better. Even though Jake Dewar, who did not have a reputation as a defensive outfielder coming to Texas A&M, has been really strong this year, and that's a credit to the work that he put in.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to hit a break here. When we come back, we'll find out what's happening on TexAgs today. Billy Liucci should be in studio, and we'll continue talking some spring football, Aggie baseball, and maybe even the NCAA tournament. You're listening to the TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
All right, join us for the 4th annual Drive with On-Ramp, the fundraiser, at Topgolf in Bryan, March 28th. That's tomorrow. 4 to 7 tickets for $50. Includes 3 hours of play, dinner, and mini golf, with all the proceeds helping gift reliable vehicles to more hardworking Brazos Valley families in need. For more information or to buy tickets, please visit onramptx.org. All right, we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. It's TexAgs Live, by the way. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And Mr. Nygren, what is on TexAgs today?
We have a lot of content as per usual around here, but a reminder, it is always a great time to become a TexAgs Premium subscriber. Some of the content we have posted now is Bronny's NIL interview with second baseman Chris Akopian, talking about his progression from his back injury and the team's mindset during SEC play. We have Kay's NIL interview with transfer setter Lily Nicholson, her development under Jamie Morrison, and how she got to College Station. She will tell you those stories. OB's article about the football transfers, how they perform in spring practice so far, and OB's Day 4 spring football snippets, how the secondary is trying to improve their interception numbers that we talked about in the Go Hour, and who stood out on the offensive side of the ball so far in the early goings. Later today and this weekend, we will have full baseball coverage from Richard and Bronny as the Ags head to Missouri. Softball coverage of their top 15 matchup against the Texas Longhorns that begins tonight. Volleyball coverage from Kay as they begin their spring schedule. We'll have 2 NIL interviews and coverage of Saturday's spring football practice.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Reese. So when Billy gets here, I want to chat with him a little bit about returning quarterbacks, and we can have a discussion about this, or returning any position. But I focus on returning quarterbacks, not to focus on Marcel, but Marcel can be a part of the conversation. Are you guaranteed improvement in the next year? Is it the best bet to say, you know what, no matter who you are, if you're a returning quarterback, should we expect you to take a step? Because I think that is what we often say. Oh, another year in the system, another year with this coach, more starts and more this and more that. So before I start breaking it down, I definitely want to get Billy's thoughts on this, but Reese, you tell me what you think. You think it's a safe bet that returning quarterbacks will be better in the next year?
I think it's fair to expect that. Now, whether or not that actually comes true is always to be determined, but I think it's always fair, and I'm sure if somebody has done the research, it would show that most of the time having a quarterback come back for another year, whether it be his second year, third year, whatever it is, typically they do improve in some sort. So I think it's fair to expect that, but that's not always what happens.
All right. Now I want us, and Nick, be a part of this. Let's put our 2025 brains on, okay? A year ago now.
Okay.
What was the talking point? Garrett Nussmeier, Heisman candidate. Cade Klubnik, Heisman candidate. Who else was there? Lenore Sellers, Heisman candidate.
Lenore Sellers, I feel like part of it was the pieces around him were not as good as before, but
it goes back to the original point.
Yeah, it always falls on the quarterback, so I'll go.
In today's era of college football, you are not going to have this. I always say groceries. I don't know why. You're not going to have the same groceries. You're not. Okay? So it's safe to say that Lenore Sellers didn't have as good of a year.
No, he did not.
All right. How about this one? DJ Lagway. All I heard all offseason was how great he was going to be, and I believed it too, by the way. I felt guilty to that.
Yeah. He missed practice early on with his injury, didn't he? And everybody was like, it's whatever. He's DJ Lagway, and then you saw it. He was not very good.
Now, I don't think this is a fair one to bring up, but all offseason I was told how great John Mateer was. And there was a stretch of the season he was great.
Yeah.
Right? And he was coming with his offensive coordinator and this is it. And they went to the playoffs. He was good. He was good. I'm not saying he wasn't. But it wasn't the year he had prior. Different competition. Yeah. So but he's probably not a good one. Avery Johnson didn't have a good year.
No.
Right? So how many of those guys were legit, like people saying either dark horse Heisman or preseason Heisman? Lenore Sellers was definitely in that mix.
Yeah.
Nico. Now, Nico I didn't think was that good his freshman year.
No.
You could say he was worse his sophomore year. I think towards the end of the season he played significantly better.
They made the playoffs.
Cade Klubnik absolutely fell off a cliff.
Yeah, he was he was a lot of people's, like, not maybe dark horse, but like their actual pick to win the Heisman, and he was awful.
DJ Lagway. Now, I did wonder about him because we have seen some of the good and some of the bad of DJ Lagway. Is that Billy? I can't tell who that tall person is. But DJ Lagway, absolutely. Sure. So let's think about that, and let's talk about this year's returners, okay? Because it is a foregone conclusion that Arch is going to be significantly better.
Yeah.
I think he will be, for the record.
I did too.
He played very well at the end of the year.
Yep.
Very, very well. Chambliss. That's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Chambliss was incredible.
Yeah. I think it's hard for him to really improve that much because he was that good.
Right?
That's definitely Billy.
Yeah, I hear him. Lenoris. He's coming back again.
Yeah.
Right? Marcel. I tend to think he'll be better.
Yeah.
Right?
You'd be a fool not to think anybody could get better.
No, could. No, but
could.
But it's almost like a foregone conclusion when people are evaluating teams in the preseason, in the offseason, that everybody, look, he's going to take a step. He's going to take a step. And we just looked at a case study. I call it a case study.
Yeah, it was.
You haven't done a case study in your life. Is Brauninger height mogging? Every time I come in here, who is sitting in this chair? It's way high.
Probably Brauninger. I don't know.
He's like trying to compensate and make himself look taller because the burners are after his ass this week.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, he attacked them. He said none of them have dads with a backbone or something after like the whole lineage. It's a little much, and I'm one that like I'm normally on the other side, but I was like that's a lot. It's like the meme of the. It's like the meme of the guy with the Snapchat filter with the rabbit ears or doing that little dog lick, and they're like, "This is going to be people's grandpa. This is people's grandpas today." And it was like a World War II veteran, like an old black and white, and he's like on the battlefield, coming off the battlefield. And then there's another one like in one generation. These are going to be people's grandpas pictures of, and they're like in a Snapchat filter. I did a couple of those took a couple of those pictures of Hunter before. I was like, hey, Hunter, I took a picture, filtered him. I've still got him.
You're going to release it to the public?
It pisses him off so bad if I'll just occasionally send one to me, him and Amber.
Yeah.
On like a group chat. He's like, get rid of that crap. How was your vacation exercise day?
I didn't call it a vacation. I called it a makeup day.
It was an off day that you took, volunteered off of work.
Yeah.
You used a vacation day to exercise.
Well, after working 2 straight weeks nonstop, I thought.
I'm not saying you're. Hey, whoa. Hey, speaking of war, holy cow, this guy.
I knew you were going to go there.
Going to Nam.
He
had 2
weeks
of nonstop work.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Get this guy. No, but I'm not talking. I know I don't question. I don't. Yeah. But what I do question is
how'd it go?
I'm going to use one of my vacation days to go exercise. How'd that go? How'd you do? Seriously.
I did exactly what I thought I was going to do, which makes me unhappy.
Makes sense. So you took a vacation day to exercise to make yourself feel worse mentally.
No, to motivate me more for the next phase. You go in the pain cave, okay? That's what you do.
I don't want to hear about your little side quest, the pain cave. We don't even need to go there, Reese. Let's.
You asked, I answered. I did it. I did what I thought.
Like.
I'm pretty realistic about my lack of athletic ability, and I did the best I could, and it wasn't good enough, so I'll do better next time.
What was it not good enough for? What would you have
I wanted to be superhuman. I wanted to be like, come in there and be like, you know what? I think I can do this, but I actually did better because the day it matters, I found another level.
He wanted to work out Mog everybody.
Yeah.
Is essentially what he wanted to do.
No, everybody was more fit than me. It was like, bottom of the list. I think I finished like 14th in my age range.
Now you have a target.
Yeah. So anyway, did you hear what?
You are insane, but let's continue.
Yeah, but I like being insane.
I know.
Did you hear my topic?
No.
Okay, thanks for listening.
I heard y'all talking this morning. Well, I was rushed today. I heard y'all talking about big plays or
Oh, yeah, that's not what I was going to ask you.
It took y'all 30 minutes, but I was behind listening, so it wouldn't have helped me to text or call in. I'm like, it's Keith freaking Mitchell. Keith Mitchell
is the one who
sacked James Brown from the blind side, sent his back of his head into his upper back. I was sitting in that end zone where Brandon Mitchell ran right to me down there in Austin in 94. It was amazing. And I think that made the score like 17 or 24 to nothing. Basically ended it. Yeah, that was in I think 1994.
94, yeah.
I think that was the game where Rodney Thomas, you always see that it's on the highlights, a lot of him jumping from about the 5-yard line into the end zone. Yeah, so anyway, that was or was that? No, it wasn't 96. Texas smoked A&M.
Pretty sure it was 94. We looked
it
up
was,
the video,
it
right?
was.
Yeah.
Because it was 94. It was the season A&M went undefeated with a random-ass tie to SMU.
Is that your freshman year? Sophomore year?
Sophomore. It was random tie to SMU, and they were undefeated, and then went on to lose. Or no, that year they couldn't play in a bowl game. Yeah. They 92, 93, they played Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl. 94, they were on probation of some sort, and they went undefeated. I think they were 10-0-1 or something. But anyway, Southwest Conference was like a 5-place tie. So it's just kind of crap that all the Longhorns on Twitter would have been like bragging about. Like 10 years later, you'd have had the accounts go that don't shut up on there going, a number of Southwest Conference championships. This mean they'd be counting the 5-way tie when A&M was on probation and went to Austin and dominated them.
Well, I'm sorry I don't have your recall, but I'm glad you answered us. You have very good recall. I'll give you credit. It's a compliment. Don't take it.
But I'm just saying, you had Reese, you had Nuño, you had Olin, you had everybody.
We had the internet.
You had anybody, the internet.
And the listener, nobody participated.
Thank you, Bob Dole. You had like everyone else listening and no one.
Nobody.
You know about Keith Mitchell?
What about?
Well, he was like 2-time first team all. He was first team all SWC, and then in 96, first team all Big 12. Then went undrafted, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 7th round, but I think undrafted, and ended up making a Pro Bowl with the New Orleans Saints fairly early in his career. Anywho, I can't believe y'all couldn't think of Keith Mitchell. Keith and Brandon Mitchell were a pretty fearsome duo, kind of on the back end of like the true 3-4 RC Blitz brothers. I would give like Jason Glenn and Penwright, Royland Bradley, Glenn and Warwick Holman, but like Keith Mitchell and Reggie Brown, whose son made a great catch at practice yesterday. Those two to me were like and Jay Glenn was like first team all Big 12, but I mean like the last like truly game wrecking tandem in that 3-4 outside linebacker. You go back to like Antonio Armstrong and Marcus Buckley, then you go back to Roper and Wallet. You know, those 3-4, the Blitz brothers and the Wrecking Crew. Reggie Brown, first round pick, would have been a many-time Pro Bowler with the Lions had he not suffered the scary, frightening neck injury that ruined his career. Unfortunately, he was going to be a Pro Bowler many times over. And then Keith Mitchell did get to a Pro Bowl despite being undrafted.
Am I right? Keith Mitchell's now like a yogi, right? He's like a big deal. He's one of the biggest ones.
He's incredibly, I don't know what the word is. I don't know if they even want to be called successful in that room. Decorated, successful, very, very well known.
Yeah.
He's like a yogi to the stars. And just, he and I always got along really good. I saw him a few years ago at one of the A&M games. And I was sitting there talking to him and Vaughn. I was like, all right, we got to get a picture right here because that's two of the all-time, I think, best just pass rushers in A&M history.
Yeah. The topic I wanted your opinion on is improved play from quarterbacks, okay, from one year to the next, and how that is not guaranteed. And I'm not talking about Marcel here. I'm talking about all these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because if you look at last season, Kate Klubnik took a step back.
Yes, he did.
Garrett Nussmeier took a step back.
Yes, he did.
Drew Aller I don't know if he ever took a step forward, but he definitely wasn't good last year.
Well, and he got hurt, but he was not trending well. Sellers
definitely took a step. DJ Lagway.
Yep.
All right. So it is not a foregone conclusion that you're going to be better. And then I look at this year's crop of quarterbacks and like, so what does that mean for these guys? Like, I think Arch is going to be significantly better, but I don't know. Trinidad Chambliss, amazing year, probably, but we'll see what the offense looks like.
All right.
Marcel, go ahead.
Great point. And I was talking about this yesterday or the day before with Chris Lowe, national college footballer. He's down here and known Chris forever. Actually got to see him a couple times. Nashville, we sat there. A lot of time to talk during the second half of that OU game, so we sat there and caught up at the SEC tournament. And we were talking, I think we were talking about Mateer, and he was saying he really thought he'd make a big jump this year and be a lot better. And I said, I can see that. I can definitely see it if they can get the blocking, which was so lacking for OU last year. Spent time with a buddy of mine in Oklahoma City. It's a big OU guy, and he's really dialed in and high school football coach, and he's still concerned about that. Feels a little better. Does feel like if OU can get any kind of successful run game, then they could be not only a playoff team, but a real contender, but he's not sure they're going to do that. That's their big if. But Mateer, I said, yeah, you know what's interesting is Mateer and Marcel, because he said it's kind of like Marcel. I said, you know, it is. And it's like, and I think Marcel had a much, even though they both went to the playoffs, I think Marcel had a much, I don't know about much, but he had a better year than Mateer.
Yeah.
And if you look at them against similar opponents and you look at how each team won games, I think he had a better year than Mateer. And they both struggled in losses. I said, you know, it's crazy is which of those two guys can make the biggest jump might be which of those two teams that might be the I don't want to say last, but, you know, fourth, fifth, you know, that one of those at large, you know, whatever, bottom end, get into the playoff 10-2, or even if a 9-3 gets in this year, it could be decided by who makes the bigger jump out of Marcel Reed and John Mateer. And then take it one step further, it might come down to who plays better in that football game in Norman in November, in the next to last week of the season. So I also saw something, I think it was Roman Harper, who bust his ass. We were texting about A&M's, about Marcel in the receiver room this week. And Roman put together his quarterbacks list. It looked fine to me. I think it was Chambliss 1, Arch 2. Was Marcel come in at 5 or 4?
Levitt was
4.
number 3. Marcel was 4. Stockton was 5.
I think that's a good list.
Yeah.
Who do you have at 5?
Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton. And I look at Marcel could be 1, Stockton could be 1, Levitt could, Mateer could, and certainly, you know, Chambliss to me should be 1, and I'm fine with putting Arch 2. I think he still has to go a lot further than Texas fans and the national media think as a passer, but I also think with the weapons he's got, and as much as I hate to say it, and I hope I prove to be right, but, you know, my big debate on the moving goalpost with the man was I didn't think those running backs they got were elite. I thought they were really good. My scouting people that made their rounds through here in Austin in the last few days, they think Hollywood Smothers could be elite. Not Jahmyr Gibbs level, but that good style of back and really, really good. If that's the case, I think Arch can make a significant jump regardless, almost. Like you just have so many weapons and they're going to be so tough to defend, better O-line. But my thing that I said about Roman's list and every other list you see, and you mentioned Trinidad Chambliss, how much of these lists are affected by rivalry weekend and the postseason? Like, and I get it. My point in that is I think that is going to lend to some in-season volatility like we saw last year, because Chambliss had a really good year, but once you got into that postseason, he was one of the, I don't know, top 5, top 3 players in the postseason.
Yes,
right? Like, he was incredible. You might say he was better. If you gave a postseason Heisman, I think I'd give it to him, and I think Mendoza would be second. Not for the whole, but I mean, like, if you just said
just for
postseason, he was incredible. Your top 3 would probably be what? Him, Mendoza, and Fletcher, Miami. So I'm sure there's somebody else in there, but you guys get it. Chambliss was amazing in the postseason. Arch beat A&M with his legs. I don't think he did it as a passer, but a winner and a runner. People forget one thing. I'll give him credit for more, but like I'll also criticize when necessary or critique. People forget like that was a frustrating half of football for Texas.
The first half, yeah.
He went in the locker room and the Longhorns had scored 3 points, and he came out and helped lead them to 24 second half points in a win in a rivalry game. So a lot of credit there, but we're talking about like projecting that to next year. And by the way, it's a wild stat. Mike Elko and the Aggies in 2 games against Texas, in 4 consecutive quarters, the Aggies held Sark and Ewers and Blue and Wisner and Wingo and Golden and and Andrews and who was the tight end the year before that was so good. Gunnar Helm held that offense, and Arch and everybody held that offense to how many points, Reese, in 4 quarters consecutive of football? 4 straight quarters.
Is it 6?
3 points.
3?
None in the second half here.
Right.
3 in the first half, the following matchup in Austin. That's 4 quarters, 3 points for Texas. You're sitting there going, man, Elko they seem to have figured this thing out. But unfortunately, the sandwich of that, the bread on that sandwich is 41 points in 4 quarters.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. They go 17, 0, 3, 24. So they got to get that figured out. But anyway, Arch, it was the A&M game and the bowl game. And then for Marcel, it was Texas and Miami. For Mateer, it was that, where he really didn't look very good against LSU when they won like 13-10 through a couple picks at least. And then it was Bama where they got that lead and then got smoked. So I think a lot of what we're doing with these preseason going into the offseason rankings are heavily, heavily shaped by how these guys ended the season. I think the guy that's getting the most credit and I think Stockton has been hurt by but Stockton to me played really like against Alabama. He was in a shootout with Chambliss against Ole Miss. Like I think Stockton's not getting enough credit, and I think Sam Leavitt is getting too much. Sam Leavitt's getting like the Lane Kiffin bump because of what he did with Chambliss, because of what he did, with the quarterbacks prior.
Matt Corral.
Well, yeah, and who's my boy, the last guy from the Giants, Jackson Dart. Like he's really like he's getting the Lane Kiffin bump because if you go look at Sam Leavitt last season, even prior to being hurt, and I watched him in that bowl game the playoff against Texas the year before. Like I think Leavitt is good, but I think people are going, man, he's going to be great under Lane.
Well, Austin Simmons didn't get that bump when the season started.
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
No, I'm saying on the field is what I'm saying. He got the bump coming into the season, but we didn't see him. Yeah. Now, he did get hurt.
And notice no one's giving him the bump now at Missouri. Yeah. They all gave him the bump last year. So, I mean, I get it. Lane Kiffin, his quarterbacks produce. But I think Leavitt's getting a little too much love. Gunner's getting a little not enough. And then I think the other guys, again, I think they're all affected by the finish.
By the end of the season.
And not the entire body of work. Because what's happening is everyone's assuming that those that were doing this are going to continue to do this. And those that were doing this or not really going up are going to continue down that path. I think that's a little short-sighted because there was an entire season. I think it's too short a body of work.
Okay. So the break, we'll come back with some more. Right now, I want to talk about Guaranty Bank and Trust. They're local, guys. You want local people handling your financial situation, and they're super local here in the Bryan College Station area. You got Brandon Sears there, who's incredible. He's their market president. He went to A&M. He's somebody you can go talk to, just to chit-chat, but make sure that he is aware of your situation. They want to be your community bank. They want to be your Texas community bank. They've been around since 1913, so they have over a century of experience taking care of people in this area. And they're one of the most respected community banks, 33 locations across Texas, from East Texas to DFW to Houston to Central Texas. And as I've mentioned, right here in Bryan College Station, with their 3 great locations, where they make local decisions by people that you see all around the community. You see them walking around, you see them at events, you see them at charities. They are great, and they want to help you, and they're known for that relationship-focused banking. Fantastic at all of that, and they want to make sure that you know they're here to help you. Check them out at gnty.com. That is gnty.com. It is Guaranty Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is at 10:50 here in about 20 minutes. But right now, caller number 12 at 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. All right, so I want you to go to YouTube and help me. What did Billy say about Marcel, or maybe what he said about Arch Manning? Because one of our Texas listeners, Sam, mentioned, let me try to find all his comments, but he had a question for Billy, and I'm just trying to understand what we're talking about here. So he says, where is it? Why is it not showing up? Did he erase it? I guess the comment's gone because it's not on there. But basically, he was asking about, didn't Marcel do some of the same things as Arch, or didn't use his arms to win games? Do you remember what Billy said about Arch on using his arms?
Yeah, it was essentially when they were talking about what went wrong in the second half for A&M against Texas. He basically said that Arch beat A&M with his legs, not his arms.
And then Sam followed it up with, well, what did Marcel do?
Yeah.
So Sam, a Texas listener, was just asking you, what did Marcel do? You know, didn't Marcel do basically the same thing, use his legs to win games?
Yeah.
And
guess what? That's a good question. The answer is yeah, primarily. And but that's my point, is everyone, from Texas fans to A&M fans to the SEC and national media, everyone points that out and questions his passing accuracy. Mm-hmm. And everyone writes off Arches to say, oh, well, he got so much better once the O-line improved. And he did, but at the same time, I'm just telling you, if you watch those late games, there was still, he'll make an incredible throw, and he might make three really bad ones. And like, if you go, well, the second half of the season, okay, well, let's talk about the second half of the season. Games 7 through 13. Like, I'm not positive, but I believe that would include
Mississippi State,
Kentucky, Mississippi State, at Georgia, Vandy, which I think he was really good. But I think a lot of that was the game they were calling him a screen merchant. And, you know, but I don't blame him or Texas for that, because it was working. They scored, what they end up in that game, 34 to 41 points, and a lot of it early. So, and then you had the A&M game, which I referenced. I just think a lot of it, if you go watch those games, and I think if you're an NFL scout watching him throw the ball, there's plenty to be desired throughout the second half of the season. Was it better than the first? Yes. So if you just see that, I don't blame you for looking at that trend and going, oh, it's just going to keep getting better.
Right.
But I think if you put together a tape of some of their, you know, like I think Arch's best throws, like particularly like the NFL throws, are way more than what you saw to Marcel. But if you put together a reel of like misfires, I think the two of them had plenty.
Yeah.
And I don't know who had more. I'm not saying, but like both of them need to get a lot more accurate throwing the football. And I think that should be one of Marcel's true points of emphasis, personally and with his QB coach, is just be more accurate. The difference, and I will say this, is, and we've talked about this a lot on Moving Goalposts, throughout that second half of the season, Arch really protected the football. And Marcel had, what, five turnovers, I think 10 turnovers in their last 4 games against, or 10 turnovers in their last 5 games, not counting Samford.
Well, one of the things about what you said earlier that I just find funny about culture today is that if we say something about a certain quarterback, that fan base or others have, but what about your guy? It can be just about him. Like we've been not very critical. We know where Marcel needs to grow.
Fairly critical, and like constructive criticism. Not constructive. We're not the ones in charge of constructing.
Right.
But like, I think we've been fairly critical. You just, you know, when you're sitting here on this show and people don't get this a lot of times, it might be just a simple difference in a tone of voice. eliminating the exasperation, eliminating the internal rage and frustration that you might feel as a fan.
Yeah.
I try to come on here and not do that. And sometimes it gets harder as the losses mount or whatever in certain seasons. But you try to be rational and level headed. And when you're talking about the other team, you try to be, you're not going to get too worked up over another program or something, but you try to be fair and balanced. And I think when talking about both these quarterbacks, I've been and Mateer and Lagway and on the flip side, Chambliss, and I've said a million times, I really underrated Stockton last year. But like Lagway and Sellers and Nussmeier, and I think we've done a good job, and I've been real upfront with what I thought about those guys, which ones I was right about, which ones I was wrong about that got better, which ones I was wrong about that got worse. Like I thought Cade Klubnik was going to have a really good year this year.
I was wrong on him.
And you know what I did? I did what I talked about earlier. I based it on his last few game finish last year.
Yeah.
And just you assume that trend's going to continue. It doesn't always. And it will not continue. If Arch doesn't get more accurate as a passer down the field, you could have Cam Coleman, you could have, I was trying to think of another. You have Cam Coleman or Gary Coleman, or it's not going to work.
You know who Gary Coleman is? I didn't think so.
Is that Webster or is that?
No, that's Arnold Jackson. Webster's Emmanuel Lewis.
Different strokes as Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which Coleman you have. You got Mr. Drummond running around out there. You got Mr. Belvedere. It doesn't
Garrett,
matter.
Please.
You're not going to, if he's inaccurate, and I watched him overthrow guys that are still pretty damn good by 5 to 8, 10 yards last year at times for touchdown passes. So my take on Arch was it's going to be a process in year one as a starter. There are going to be growing pains. It's going to be a learning curve. When people were ready to bury him, I said, that's not fair. He's going to be really good. And I still think he's going to be really good, and I think it'll be this year, but he won't be if he doesn't get more accurate down the field. And it's the same thing with Marcel. Like A&M get to the playoffs, the Aggies can do all they want with like quick game stuff. And I love the thought that Wiggins and even like say Drew Hollingshead's coming with he's one of the last guys with like just a true 100% like air raid pedigree. I think you're going to see some of that incorporated. I think people are underestimating with Holman Wiggins, Joey Lynch, Adam Cushing, Trooper Taylor. You bring in a tight ends coach from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Where remember who was the OC at Kentucky a few years ago? It was like Liam Cohen. There's a really Perry with his NFL experience with the Texans, who the receivers have come in and said played a huge role for them last year. I've talked to Leckler about him. You've talked to John Harris about him, like very highly regarded. There is and then you bring in Hollingshead with this air raid. There's a plethora of there's a nice background of offenses and ideas. With that said, you could come in and get it out, and we saw that yesterday. Get it out of Marcel's hands a lot of times quickly. Let your receivers make plays. You could do that all you want, but at the end of the day, for A&M to get back to the playoffs, Reed's going to have to do two things still: protect the football and be accurate down the field. Period. And when he was last year, this offense was lethal at times.
Yeah.
And when when he's not, it struggled. I talked to somebody the other day that I won't say who, but one of the Texas players told them, like, hey, when Moss wasn't going to play, and they just thought Moss was such a load, you had to commit more to stop. I mean, he is. He would have been an all SEC back. He would probably been a second or third round pick as a running back. Without him, they said, we're going to drop 8, and we're going to just drop 8, and we're not going to fear the run game, and we're going to make Marcel throw against 8, facing him.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what they did, and it worked. And it's essentially what Miami did. And Miami had safety coming downhill and knocking heads, and I didn't feel like the Aggies in the run game were up to that task that Saturday. So that to me, we can talk all about Marcel all we want. We can talk about the Wiggins influence and impact. They've got to line up and run the football better this year. And it's a big question mark. I don't care about one day of practice, okay? You're literally 4 days in with a whole new O-line. But that the portal ads from the O-line have to be hits. Not all of them, but at least 2 or 3. And you didn't go portal for a running back, so those guys you've got to be good.
All right, we got to hit a break. We'll come back with
scared. He's scared.
We're 11 minutes late.
He's scared of Louis.
11 minutes late for the break. Now 12.
So what?
We'll be back. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Oh, Josh is going crazy. What's that sound?
Your mic's over here. Nobody heard anything.
Hello. Yeah, they did. They had to have felt that.
So how was practice yesterday?
We're going to do that after in the. So what else you got? Remember, that's why I said we got to talk about practice.
Okay.
In the bonus segment, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to do a 3-minute version, like a 10-minute version.
Can we do a? You put it on the boards yesterday, but Basantis really turning some heads.
Yeah, pro day. That's true. We haven't talked since pro day, and I think first of all, everyone I talk to, they say it's one of the most well-run pro days they go to. The NFL people, they love it. They love coming every year. And I think the Texans and Cesario and that staff do a great job of kind of managing that for the scouts and stuff. I think A&M did a great job with it. I think Kat and the SID department, I mentioned that to her because I love to complain, but I was like, this was the access we had in terms of like visibility and sightlines and our ability to get content was the best it's been. Although Brad Marquardt did point out, he's like, Billy, I've got pictures of you and I standing on the 40 line at the. I'm like, yeah, that's true. When I first started, when it was in Needham Steed, I think you could literally just walk in off the street
and just get in
and go stand there. And they did it just in that little weight room. And it was just a mob of people around the bench. And, you were sitting there, you might be standing next to an NFL head coach, a scout, and it could have been like 23-year-old me just there to watch my buddies perform and maybe write about it, in a print article that went out a week later. But in recent years, and since they've been doing it in this indoor, it was tremendous. And just so you know that I don't just keep my picking on people reserved to in this building, I did text or call Mark Robinson, who's at Georgia now under Kirby. And I said, hey, I'm pulling up to pro day. I left a message. I'm pulling up to pro day. Just thinking about that day where you ruined everyone's careers with that miserable pro day at the band field on the worst turf in the history of planet Earth. Do you remember that when they did it? This indoor was under construction and they did it on a band field, and then halfway through they had to change it. It was like the slowest. They made Devon A-Chain look like he ran like a 4.7. It was brutal, and they were like, okay, we can't do this, and they moved it. It was like half over there and half back. So anyway, this was a good one. Chase Basantis, probably more so than anyone, really helped himself. I had 3 scouts that I talked to about him specifically yesterday. 2 said absolutely worked his way into the first round. They said he's going first round. The third one said, yeah, I could see it. So I don't know about for sure, but I could see it.
So we could get 2?
But we had someone on TexAgs that came in and said no way, and that Will Lee was still soaring. And I said, look, you can always guess right, and they can always be wrong. But I'm just here to report what people are telling me that know in theory. And even if they're wrong, they still know more than me, you, Reese, average Joe Poster. They still know more. It doesn't mean they're right all the time, though. But I'm just trying to pass along what the NFL is saying. And people told me that his O-line workout was like elite from the standpoint of the condition he was in, the strength, the power. They said it didn't look like he was breathing hard. And their whole goal of those things is to see how far they can push you to exhaustion. And they couldn't, like he could have gone and done your
High Rock
creep tathlon or whatever it was you did yesterday. High Rocks. Like he was in that kind of shape. And at 315 pounds or whatever he was, they were like, damn, you don't see this very often. So he helped himself. There are a couple guys, Nuño, that could have. I don't understand why like Will Lee and Scooby didn't compete more to help their stock, and like Will didn't run a fast 40 time. I don't know what kind of advice they're getting to not take advantage of that platform a second time. We'll see if it pays off or if it hurts them.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with a 12-second segment. It's TexAgs Live.
And we're back. TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is hour number 3 coming to a close. So if you're listening on The Zone, highly recommend you listen to Louis Bellina. But if you want Billy's practice tidbits, you can get it. Nick, it's only on TexAgs.com, right, when we go long? Am I correct? So you got to be a premium subscriber. Reese has already told you why you should be a premium subscriber. So there's going to be an abrupt ending on KBTX CW3 and on The Zone. Highly recommend you still listen to Louis, and if you like the show after us on CW, please watch that. But Billy and I are going to talk a little Aggie football practice, and we can start that now, Billy, as we get into almost our overtime. So I wasn't there yesterday. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts of what you saw.
Well, first of all, I'm seeing what's out there, and to me, it's a lot of what I said. If you've read the 5 and 5s, if you read the long form that I wrote, and if you've been listening, it's a lot of what we've been talking about, like Damian Sanford, set to take a giant step. Looked really good to me yesterday. He's looked great physically. Every day we've been out there, he looked great physically and competing during the offseason. He jumps out at you. Noah McHale jumps out at you. I think he's a guy that quietly, there's a ton of optimism about within the program. The linebacker position in general, when you take those two and you throw in Jordan Lockhart and Ray Coney, like there's a lot there, not just in how you think they're going to play, but just looking at that group, that looks like a group of SEC linebackers with size, with length, athletes. They look like they're supposed to look, man. They're really starting to reshape that position, let's say. We talked about Marcel. I thought he was good getting the ball out of his hands. He was pretty accurate. I thought he had a good day. Kasuga kind of jumps out at me.
You know?
Or it's early on, but just first impression. I like what I see from him at quarterback. Running, I'm too early in running back, and I think the D-line kind of got the best of practice yesterday. I really like Saka. I've said this about him, Anto Saka. He is really powerful at the point of attack. He has pop. We think of him, they brought him in as a pass rusher to replace Howell or replicate Howell. Yeah, sure. And you see his numbers at Northwestern, and you go, okay, you can get to the quarterback, but I think he could be strong against the run too, man. He's got real pop out of his stance and at the point of attack. It's impressive to me.
Very nice young man. I talked to him the other day. Very cerebral.
Yeah.
But big. And something to what you just said.
Yeah, he's not a long, rangy guy, but he's also not stocky. He's in between. But he's.
But what I remember
almost
last
like
year,
Nick Scorton, but lean.
Last year around this time, there was a few guys, but I remember you telling us what to expect from Cassius and others. And I'm not saying that you're predicting a Damian Sanford jump like Cassius did, but you have the same kind of energy when you're talking about it, like, hey, it's going to be a step. We're going to see it.
Yeah. I mentioned this too, and he had a good day, and I was glad to see it. But he's a good day, and he's vocal out there too. Julio Humphrey. I've been telling y'all that he's a guy that he had a really good offseason, and then you talk about was it Hemp Hill? I don't know if they said he was talking